Hello, chat. Where is the Mike Minotti? They can't hear you guys yet. Hang on. All right, now they can hear you.
Oh, let's go. We're waiting on Mike. He's stuck in the Chipotle again.
Yeah. He's down in a Chipotle hole, probably. We got to call Mr. Chipotle and tell them to
Those
check their
quesadillas.
ditches. Yeah. Check your bathrooms.
I hate that you call it quesadillas. Quesadillas.
You probably got E. coli.
Oh, there we go. Oh shit, everybody scatter. Oh, there's no sound.
Yeah, I could see him.
I can see it, but I can't hear him.
I'm here.
Go away, Mike.
He's eating. He was on the Chipotle.
Yeah. He won't even tell us where he was.
Oh, Mike, do you want me to buy you the Sonic movie novelization?
No.
Why are so many novelizations of what's going on with the novelization?
I don't know why.
I feel like they used to do it a lot more. Is it coming back? All right, you know
Maybe
what?
it is. I don't know. I assumed it just kept happening. I just didn't notice.
I blame Kindle.
You know what? Maybe that's what it was too. Maybe that's true.
Of course, I'm late after giving Jeff a ton of shit on Wednesday for being late for Nintendogs. That's what I get. I'm here.
He's here.
Pronounce my own language. This chatter. I'm gonna ban him. No, I'm kidding. He's fine.
Okay, so I have
different places, different pronunciations. Okay.
Fine.
Oh, Benji likes your shirt, Mike.
Thank you, Benji.
All right, I've got YouTube up. I got the chat. Hello, chat. We do have faces.
There we go.
Smash the like button, you cowards.
Wow.
Okay, I'll give it a like.
Thank you.
Don't forget to dislike.
You know what? No matter what you guys, no matter what he was eating, he's just gonna say he was eating Arby's because he's afraid of you, chat. He's afraid.
It was like a normal bar. Calm down.
There's the news put together, sponsored by Knuble because I didn't do it and he did it last minute for me. Thank you, Knuble.
Shout out to Knuble.
We'll get it.
Our sweet German boy.
That sweet German boy. And
Knuble,
what else do I need? Let me see here.
Eating das Brot. That's the only German I know.
Oh, I can control my
6 months of Duolingo for you there, baby. In one phrase.
I can control my my key light now from my Stream Deck, so I'm gonna fiddle with that for a second.
Stream elements, and then I have to.
No way, Pablo. Big shout out. Viva Mexico, cabrones.
I need to open the thingy. The what do we call it? The notes.
Yeah, you could just put podcast rundown in your Google. Yep. Okay, there it goes.
Okay, are you gonna do a podcast?
Yeah, we're gonna go. We're gonna do it. You guys get out here. We're gonna start right now. Okay, Google, turn on all the lights.
Stay away from my mic.
I know it's literally it's right here. You guys see?
Thank you.
Doesn't this?
Look at that mic.
Doesn't it suit him? They look. Yeah.
Like a dick on it and send it to him. Have a good podcast.
Thanks, guys.
Don't kick me out.
I'm doing it right now. I'm gonna see. Let's see here. Right. Okay, he's gone. Wow, he's lucky. All right. Mike, I feel like oh yeah, I was gonna test the audio. This might not work.
It did work, actually.
Wonderbar. All right, Mike, I'm good to go. You ready?
I was just going over the news, making sure everything's good. Alan Wake was there twice, not to complain.
Knuble put it together for us, so
I was about to say, not to complain about Knuble's work.
Let's just be grateful. Yeah.
I know, but you know me, I have to criticize everybody.
Yeah, you gotta belittle to be better.
Even while I'm late.
Well, you gotta draw attention away from yourself, of course.
Yeah, Benji Bob's right. This mic check went way too well. Are we sure everything's okay?
I know, that's exactly what I'm like having a little bit of anxiety about. Is like I feel like there's something that we're forgetting or something. Because I did. No, I didn't tweet. That's a good idea.
There it is. That must be it.
That's probably it. All right. Let's find the link.
Excuse me. GamesBeat Decides time.
Yes. All right. What have I been playing? I've been playing something I can't talk about, I think. Mike, when can we talk? When can we talk about that?
I don't know.
Okay.
Not now.
Not now. Okay. Well, then that's fine. You know, I could talk about the Forgotten City here.
Again? Actually, I do want to ask you something about that, so that's fine.
Yeah, totally. Okay. Yeah, I think we're good to go. Let's hit the. I'll hit the record button, and I'll hit the button, and we'll go. You ready?
I am ready.
5, 4, 3. It's the internet. You're busy. Let's do this. Welcome to the GamesBeat Decides podcast. This is the podcast where we decide everything happening in the world of video games, so you never have to think for yourself. I'm your host, Jeff Grubb. With me is...
Thinking Hard, Mike Minotti.
How dare you? Today's episode, we have news and games. We got to go over that PlayStation event that just happened yesterday. It was a pretty good showcase. Lots of news to talk about. Some other stuff related to PlayStation. Kind of quiet from Microsoft right now, although they are starting a Halo flight, which Mike might actually get into this time, and so you could stop whining at me. We'll get to all that. But first, Mike, how's your week? How was it?
How was my week? I guess fine. Seemed a little long, didn't it?
For a short week, it was a long week. Yeah. It was like a 4-day week.
We had Monday off. Why did it feel so long? What the hell?
I don't know. Well, for me, I know what. Like, my schedule yesterday was just absurd.
Yeah.
And
you're busy.
Yeah, it's like not, and it's gonna be like that on like Tuesdays and Thursdays for a while. But like, also I'd like scheduled some stuff like calls and stuff that I just will not do in the future on Thursdays. So I was done after yesterday. And you know, honestly, today feels a little bit like, hey, this is nice. We're just gonna kind of take it easy on this Friday. Yeah, chill. Yeah, I'll do a little bit of work. I'll get the podcast posted, maybe post another story here before the end of the day. But honestly, that's like nothing compared to the rest of the week. So yeah, I don't know. I always get excited for the short week, and then the last couple of short weeks, I do feel like they felt longer than they should have. So
I guess because we had the specter of this PlayStation event looming over us a little bit, so it's like getting ready for that, and then it happened. It was a big day. I mean, it was fun, but yeah.
Right. It would have been also. It would have been nice to get like the alleged Nintendo Direct out of the way this week too, and like the fact that didn't happen also feels like okay, we're still waiting for that to drop whenever it might come. So maybe next week we'll see. But yeah, okay, we'll get into all the news here right after these messages from your boys, the Beef and Cheddar boys. You get more from Mike and me at GamesBeat.com. If you have something to share with us, email us at GamesPlusPodcast@VentureBeat.com. You can also get us on Twitter at GamesBeat. Thank you to Carlos Ayin, who is Insane in the Rain Music on YouTube, for the use of our theme song. If you're listening to this on the website player widget, you could subscribe to the audio version of the show on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, and more. If you're listening on YouTube, watching right now live, hit that like button. It really helps people find the show. We really appreciate it. And wherever you're listening, if you are listening on like Apple Podcasts or whatever, rate the show. That also helps people find it. And then if you want to hang out with us on hours when we're not doing the podcast, join the Discord. The link is in the description. I do think that discord.gg/GameMess does still work though. And then thank you to the mods. Thank you to the mods who you might have heard on the pre-show here. But thank you to the mods for helping keeping everything moving, keeping the trains running on time and all that stuff. And if you want to support the show or get into the secret channels inside of the Discord, you can go to patreon.com/JeffGrubb. Which also, you know what, I just recently added annual membership options there, so you don't have to pay monthly and you save a little bit of money. So I know some people were wanting that. Well, now you have it. So cool.
There you
All right, Mike. We have the news here as put together by the sweet German boy Knuble in the Discord.
He just said in chat, "I hate Mega Man." He must have heard me criticize him earlier, so I'm furious.
I mean, listen. This is why I asked you to keep your mouth shut. And you just can't help yourself. All right, he's got us starting off with Sony and a whole bunch of news from that event and other stuff this week. Let's go and start here, kind of in a little bit of chronological order. The first thing that happened with Sony this week is that they backtracked on the upgrade path regarding Horizon Forbidden West. So,
yeah, that's right. We talked about that last week, and you said by Monday or Tuesday you thought it would happen. It happened
by Monday.
Like a Saturday, a Sunday. It just went down.
I almost thought it would happen like that Friday night, but we recorded at like 11:30 a.m. Mountain Time, and I'm like, okay, by tonight it probably will happen, but definitely by Monday is what I was thinking. That's what I said. So. And Saturday they did it. They came out with a blog post by Jim Ryan, who's just like, "Yo, sorry, yeah." And then what's happening now is if you buy the game for Horizon Forbidden West on PlayStation, PlayStation 4, you get the PlayStation 5 version for free. This is something they said they were going to do, and now they're coming back around and saying they said they were going to do like originally, and then they weren't going to do that. They're like, there's going to be no option to do that. You just have to buy the $80 version of the game.
And their weird justification for it was, well, it's not a launch window game anymore because we delayed it. And it's like, well, that's a you problem that you delayed the game, right?
Yeah, and
it's
also
absurd.
Some people sent like multiple times that they talked about this, and in one of the interviews or something, or one of the blog posts, they did not refer to this launch window thing as being an important caveat to that. Like, yeah, it was just like these games are going to have free upgrades, and yeah, you're right. Like it's not our problem. I don't even think if like you were to present that like to a lawyer, they'd be like, I don't think this caveat's going to get you out of this. You'd have to like come up with some other reasoning why you're not going to do it anymore. But
I do want to know who was the person who was like in that means like, well, now that we delayed the game, obviously we're not going to just give them the PlayStation 5 version for free anymore, right?
Right. Yeah,
like someone had to say that. Someone had to be thinking about it, which is just absurd to me.
I mean, do you think they said it, or do you think they just forgot they made the promise in the first place? Because that's to me what it seemed like.
Also pretty likely, yeah. I think that's completely likely that they forgot that, like back when they cared about looking good, they said things, right?
Yeah, they said we said a lot of shit. We don't know, and then they come back and it's like, oh, okay, I guess we'll stick with this one. Yeah, so they are going back on this, but they also finally have solidified like what the upgrade path is going to look like going forward. And they said for I think Gran Turismo 7 and God of War Ragnarok, which just got its name this week finally, both of those will have $10 upgrade paths. So you pay $60 on PlayStation 4. If you want to get the PS5 version, then after you can just buy an upgrade for $10. And they're like, hey, that's what we're doing. So finally they have like a solid plan in effect, so it's not going to be different every time, which was one of the other issues with this that we talked about last week, where it's just inconsistent and weird.
And it seems like we'll talk about it later, but with the new games getting announced going forward, they're not going to be PlayStation 4 versions, so we're going to just put this whole kind of mess behind us. I'm still shocked that Gran Turismo 7 is a game that's coming out on PlayStation 4.
Still weird.
It's still, especially you look at that trailer, like, man, that just looks very not PlayStation 4-y to me. I don't know how that's gonna look there. There's a couple weird things about this. Well, first off, the game's cheaper on PlayStation 4. It's $60 there. So yes, I mean, can people just buy that version, upgrade to PlayStation 5, and save $10?
Yes. I mean, that's by all indicators, that's exactly what you can do. And it's like so. The obvious question to what you just proposed there is, why would anyone buy the PlayStation 5 version for $10 more, other than you want to have the same box in your collection? That's kind of it, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it kind of feels like they need to add some stuff to the PS5 version, like bonuses or something, to justify the $70 version now. I don't know. It's weird. I suppose a lot of people just sort of do it based on momentum and the path of least resistance, where they're not thinking about it. They show up to the store, they're like, I have a PS5, This
Yeah,
God of War box, or I'm sorry, this Horizon Forbidden West box says PS5. I'll just get that. But if you look at it a little bit closer than that, I think most people are just going to get the PS4 version and move up for free. So, yeah.
The other thing here was, I mean, this almost mirrored exactly Microsoft's whole Xbox Live Gold thing, right? And it's interesting. We just have this formula now where, like, you make an oopsie whoopsies, you see it to just come out a few days later and just humbly walk it all back, and you almost just like turn a loss into a win in a weird way. Like, it doesn't seem to hurt you anymore. So
Yeah.
I wonder if people can get bolder now about proposing these things. Well, people hate it. We'll just go back on that.
Yeah, I imagine we'll get to a point where like that is maybe transparent and people have some backlash towards that. Like, they're testing us and they're waiting to see if we get lax on anything. But yeah, I mean, you're right. Like, the vocal minority, if loud enough, is capable of causing these companies to backtrack, which is something that feels like 5 years ago wouldn't have happened. But now these companies are so worried about this audience because I think what's happening here is that while gaming is getting bigger and bigger, there is a smaller select audience that spends maybe a lot of money. And you want to make sure that you keep those people happy because they move the needle a lot. So, and also, if they're yelling about something, that stuff tends to spread out, like with the Xbox One launch. And I think everyone's just afraid of being in an Xbox One launch situation. So,
it used to be like there's a perception that like, oh, only like the super hardcore know about these things, but it's not right. It's not really like that now. This stuff spreads. Like, I have a lot of like the the gaming mild enthusiasts who talk to me about some of these talking points and ask me questions about this stuff now. So
yeah,
and they know that.
Yeah, they're on YouTube, and the YouTube algorithm is occasionally going to serve them up some gaming thing that's got a big headline that says Sony lied, and like, yeah, that's stuff you have to deal with. You have to sort of nip it in the bud before it becomes a major problem. And so far, they've shown, both companies, that if they do nip it in the bud fast enough, you're right, that for the most part, they kind of come out of it looking like, oh, they're listening, and that's what we really want. So, yeah. Next in the order of operations here was Sony acquired Firesprite Studio. And now Firesprite is a Liverpool team in the UK, made up of many former Sony Liverpool studios and Psygnosis developers. So basically the people who created and developed Wipeout. And now they are bringing in this studio. They didn't say for how much, but it is a 250-person team, which makes them... This is not like acquiring Nixies or even Housemarque. This is much more akin in terms of scale to acquiring Insomniac. And
which they paid peanuts for what Insomniac was worth. That was like, what, $280 million for Insomniac?
Yes, and I think what's likely here is that Firesprite's probably not even that much, but probably still more than they would have been worth at any other point. We've talked about why in the past there.
Sure.
But so what has this team done recently? Their most recent credits are PlayStation VR and PlayStation Eye camera sort of stuff. They helped work on the Playroom and the Playroom VR, which are like the pack-in games that are like let you know how these peripherals can work and what they can do. And then they also worked on The Presence, which was another PlayStation VR game. So you would think, hey, are they going to make out Wipeout, or are they going to make a VR game? Are they going to make a Wipeout VR game? And it doesn't seem like that's in the cards immediately. So in an interview with GamesIndustry.biz, I think Herman Hulst, the president of PlayStation Studios, came out and said, hey, we want them to work on like their own original stuff. We want this to be like I don't think he exactly said another Insomniac, but it's definitely like we want them to be in that same vein. And then there's job listings for what this team is looking for, and one of the jobs is for working on a game that is a game-changing first-person shooter multiplayer game, and the other one is like a dark narrative-driven adventure. Is kind of how I think they described each of those. So, that latter one is definitely like Sony's wheelhouse, and the former is, I think, what Sony wants right now, which is more diversity in terms of multiplayer games and bringing some stuff to market that can make them money in the long run.
I kind of forgot, Sony doesn't really have an FPS franchise anymore, huh? Killzone is done. And we haven't had that for a while, huh?
What's the other one? I was going to say Remedy.
Resistance
from
yes. Forever ago, which that was only PlayStation 3. That never even showed up on PlayStation 4. So yeah, I guess they could quit. Now, of course, they have the Call of Duty deal to kind of sort of help cover that up. But yeah, I'm sure they would like to have their own FPS thing going on.
Yep. Yeah. And I think I talked about this on Grubb's Next a little bit, and we didn't actually see this play out in the showcase too much, but Sony's definitely like looking at multiplayer gaming as a way to broaden what it's offering. So it's going to continue making the games that it's known for from the PlayStation 4, but I think it's going to add multiplayer games to its offerings, because they think this will enable us to put stuff out that doesn't have to be $250 million in terms of budget. And then also these games might be able to have long-term high lifetime value from each player, and that could be really good for us in terms of long-term financial health and offering up diversity, basically like diversifying our portfolio. We're not putting all our money into the Naughty Dog basket. We are going to have Naughty Dog doing their thing, Insomniac doing their thing, and they're going to keep doing what they're known for now, clearly. And then on the other side of that, we're going to have these new studios trying different things that will probably still feel a lot like Sony games, and maybe they might make a behind-the-back third-person action-adventure game. I think that's likely from a lot of these studios, but they might also, their second game is probably not going to be another one of those. It might be a multiplayer game, just to add a little bit more in there. Yeah,
I may have been talking about that. We know Naughty Dog's doing something. I was surprised that we didn't see like the first one of those at the Sony thing, but
yes,
I guess we're going to wait a little bit longer for that. Sort of like the Wipeout, or not Wipeout, but yeah, Wipeout. It is Wipeout, people.
Yes.
For some reason, you kept saying Wipeout, and in my mind this entire time, I interpreted it as Jet Moto. The entire week, I was like, oh, the Jet Moto guys. How exciting. Wipeout, yeah, sure, whatever.
We talked about Jet Moto last week. Has it just been in your head ever since? Like,
it is. Yeah, I liked Jet Moto, man. You know?
Me too. And Jet Moto's fine.
Yeah, that is one of the things I kind of took away from this event, though. Maybe we talk about that. Is every time one of these Sony things happens, everyone like, what do you want to see? And there's always a ton of people like, bring back this old Sony franchise, bring back this old Sony franchise, right? Bring back Ape Escape or Jack and Daxter. Like, that does not seem to be anything they're really interested in.
Yeah, no, I think if they're going to bring something back, I do think it'll be like SOCOM and something like that. But even then,
Mag.
like Mag, never mind. You're right, Mag. Yep, the Mag. No, Mag, it's coming back. You heard it here first, everybody. I'm very excited. You know what? They actually probably are bringing something back, Mike. After this, we will get into the PlayStation Showcase in earnest. This news was broken on a John Bomb show called Grubb Snacks. That Twisted Metal is likely coming back to coincide with the Twisted Metal TV show or movie or whatever they're doing over at Sony Pictures or whatever. Yeah, so they're working on that. Probably in like 2023 is when we'll see that. I thought there was a chance we might see it at the showcase, but it's a bit early for that game. And then Video Game Chronicles, Andy Robinson confirmed that he corroborated some of that reporting, was like, I've heard the same thing. So it sounds like we've got some good confirmation here that this game is in the works. From what I've heard, I think I know the studio. I think I'm going to hold off on like talking about the specifics. We'll wait and see, give it some time. Because I think I would almost be unfair to just be like, this team is working on it, and people are like, oh, sure. Okay. I think let's just let them show it, and then we'll talk about it.
Especially when it gets so micro like that, then we're just kind of putting stress on very specifically that team.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and in this case, I think we'll hold off. And maybe Andy Robinson said, I read his story, but I was going through it pretty fast.
I heard you talk about this on Grubb Snacks. I didn't think much of it too. I thought that you talked to that with me on here at some point too, that you thought Twisted Metal was coming back, but I don't know.
Yeah, but I thought most people knew that already. So yeah, but oh well.
I mean, look, so I said like, oh, bring back this franchise. Twisted Metal is kind of an exception there, because Twisted Metal should have never gone away. That always made the problem there was the last time they made one, it was just really uninteresting. They kind of flubbed it, and then I was almost surprised that they took them this long to get back to it. There's a lot of potential with Twisted Metal.
And it's like it doesn't have to be exact. I mean, there should be a mode that is exactly like Twisted Metal or Twisted Metal Black or whatever. But you should be a little bit more like Fortnite and be willing to experiment with slightly different modes. There could be a Twisted Metal Rocket League mode where you're just playing car soccer with the Twisted Metal cars, and they all have their different abilities. Yeah. Like you could make a car sport game inside Twisted Metal and try some different stuff.
You could do a battle royale. You could somehow do like an adventure mode even. There's a lot of potential there.
Yes. But then next up for Sony was the PlayStation Showcase event yesterday. Going into this, Mike, I'm like, man, here's some stuff that I think could be here. And then right before, I was like still trying to like get us for pre-writes because we weren't going to leak anything because we're like it's too close, it's just going to happen. It would be kind of like it would be kind of shitty just to be like this is going to happen. Like I'm going to see if I could find out what's going on, and then right before I'm like, Mike, write up a Marvel game like pre-write, and you're like, do you have anything else to go on? No, I don't.
Yeah,
I just know
like,
that.
All right.
I'm like, there's going to be a big surprising Marvel game. That's as much as I know. And then I wrote up the Knights of the Old Republic remake, which I like heard a long time ago, forgot about, and then I was reminded of like right before. So I'm like writing it up while also like doing a podcast at the same time. And they opened up with Knights of the Old Republic remake, which was just a teaser. They don't have a date, but it is PlayStation 5 console exclusive at launch. That's their wording. And then it's also coming to PC at the same time.
Yeah.
How are you feeling about this?
Really excited. KOTOR's fantastic. It's not a mistake that's a lot of people's favorite Star Wars game. A lot of people just like favorite Star Wars story in general. I'm really interested to see like how remakey it is, like what's going to get changed here, just how nice is it going to like it. Like this needs to be a Blue Point style remake, right? Like this better look very, very good. I want this to look like one of the best games ever. Now I want it to be completely modernized. I don't know if I need the gameplay touched up too much. There's some balancing they can do. They're probably going to have to re-record some voice lines. Hopefully bring back some of the voice actors, but like the actual standard for line delivery in some cases, I think is a little higher for some. Some of it was good. But yeah, I'm really excited. I think it's pretty surprising that Microsoft missed out on this one since KOTOR was so heavily tied to the original Xbox, right? Like you think they would have, and Microsoft's usually fine with throwing money at things. How did this end up at PlayStation?
I think that PlayStation's just willing to spend more money to make stuff exclusive, and then if you go back, if you're in negotiations and you go to Microsoft and say, hey, they're going to pay us a lot of money to go exclusive, and the Microsoft's like, well, we can give you this much money and we're not interested in having you exclusive, but maybe you could be in Game Pass or something like that, but it's not quite as much as like Sony's going to pay to be exclusive, and then people have to then also buy it on PlayStation. So you're thinking like maybe we'll make more money and then we'll get another pop when we go to Xbox later. I just think that Sony's spending a lot of money and Microsoft just doesn't want to match it right now. Not to try to also get exclusives. That's not their strategy. So
right.
But
what I was saying, I want this needs to be a top tier remake, and they're using the words remake here, but it's Asper's done ports and Aspire, excuse me, yeah. Asper. They've done
ports and remakes,
ports and remasters.
Yes,
they haven't really done remakes, and they've done a lot of Star Wars stuff, but yeah, this is kind of a different order here, so pretty interesting.
So yeah, this is according to the press release and some blogs and some post-event interviews. This is Aspire saying that this is their most ambitious thing that they've ever done in terms of remaking something, and it's fully remade from the ground up. I agree. I think they Blue Point has set the standard for what these look like, and you need to at least be like within a 9 iron of that. You have to be close to that. You can't
come out with the Prince of Persia thing on this one.
Absolutely not. Yes, this needs to feel like you have really put in a ton of work. And I mean, the good news there is it is like a really big game, and if it's done right, it will sell, so you'll get a return on that investment, but you have to make the investment. Sony is showing up with a check to make it exclusive, so yeah, like you've already got some money involved, like see it through. I guess I just don't know what to expect when we do see it. Like I hope it is as good as we're hoping, but I do know, like people were saying, like in chat, it sounds like it's just starting development. It's been in the works for a long time. They've been working on it for a long time. Like I talked to someone who was familiar with the development, and they're like, yeah, like when I was like, hey, I'm hearing KOTOR Remake's going to be there. What do you know? And they're like, I don't know for sure, but I do know that the timing makes sense because it's been in development for so long. So
that makes sense, because even like Disney's been peppering in some of that KOTOR stuff here and there. Like a lot of people working at like higher up speak highly of KOTOR still. Like it seems clear that was something they're interested in bringing back. So yeah, what is like BioWare's involvement? Is it literally just they had to sign something, sign it over? Did they like want to pass at it? Did they get offered to do it?
Aspire. Let me. I think they probably just kind of are giving like the green light. Like okay, so I'm in the PR, the press release for this, and I'm going to search the word BioWare, and it appears exactly 0 times in this press release.
That's kind of interesting.
I mean, BioWare made this game, and it just feels like.
It's not like they're not around anymore. Right?
And EA, like I think EA would own it, right? So it's like, what is going? Like maybe does Lucasfilm actually own this game? Is that what this is? And so, yeah, I don't know. It's weird, but so I guess, do you think this means that like Knights of the Old Republic is on the table for like a sequel after this from a studio that isn't BioWare? I guess that's kind of the inclination that I'm getting.
I mean, yeah, it kind of seems like it, right? Like the total lack of involvement here, kind of. I mean, who knows what's next after this? Do they go to 2? 2 could be interesting just because.
Right.
Like 2 was unfinished. Now you can finish 2, right?
Yes, and there's like a lot of that work has already been, if not, it is done. But if you're not going to take that work, at least the roadmap is out there that you could follow and say, hey, we learned from this, and do the exact same thing as the mods, like put all that stuff back in the game, clean it up, and then remake it with the same tools that you are probably building for this game. So. Mike, I'm very excited for this. I think KOTOR is one of those games that, and someone in chat pointed out, now it's KOTOR with 2 R's at the end because of Remake.
Like,
yeah,
let me your R's.
Yeah, KOTOR.
Oh, you can do it. I can do it.
Yeah. And that's it's one of those games that I think is like a pressure point or like a nexus point in gaming where a lot of people came in to play that game specifically because it was Star Wars, and then some came in because it was BioWare, and
I mean, that was one of the first times we had a big Western RPG on a console that was like that played very nicely. Like we had some of that before, and it was kind of always weird and awkward. But yeah, KOTOR and Morrowind on the original Xbox really kind of felt like these could become very big games now. These could become tentpoles.
Yeah, it's it's the kind of thing where I'm like, I'm glad this is happening. I do still like going back to play the original KOTOR, although now it does feel, like it's so well known how to beat that game and how to play the game. You just kind of go through the motions, and I'm hoping that this remake will kind of spruce it up enough that it feels really rewarding to go back to again. But either way, I'm excited. Other news. Let's see here. I think, let's talk about these Insomniac games. So. Insomniac is a busy developer. They released Ratchet and Clank this year, and then last fall they released Spider-Man Miles Morales, the kind of expand-alone, almost quasi-sequel to Spider-Man. And now they have announced 2 more projects in Wolverine, Marvel's Wolverine, and Spider-Man 2. And they didn't give dates for either of them, but I think the implication is maybe that Wolverine is coming up sooner, which would make sense because here's how it works. Here's how it breaks down. The Marvel's Spider-Man 2018 team, I think, is working on Wolverine, and then it's the other way.
I checked this out. It's the original Spider-Man team is making Spider-Man 2. The Miles Morales team is working on Wolverine.
Okay, cool. All right. So, okay. Well, then maybe Wolverine is going to be a little bit further out. But
I think Wolverine's after Spider-Man 2.
Okay. Well, either way, like they didn't show much from either other than pre-rendered sort of
Spider-Man
footage.
2 has a 2023 window. They did give
a date for that 2023. Okay, yes.
But they did not for Wolverine. So,
but does that mean Wolverine is 2024? Are they showing games from 2024?
I mean, it could also be 2023. We had right. Maybe,
no,
maybe it might be 2024.
Yeah, it's just interesting. Like, I guess it's 2021 is coming to an end, so I suppose you could start talking about 2024 games.
It's 2 years away. It's not super ridiculous.
Yeah, I guess you're right.
Away, let's say.
I guess you're right. It's just weird for me, those numbers.
It is bizarre seeing the mid-20s. Yeah, it feels a little weird.
Yeah, Pablo Costa says they say they are in early development for Wolverine. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, so that makes sense.
So you're a wrong dumb idiot, and you're lucky you have me. Good thing you didn't go on this tangent on Grubb snacks, or I would just be laughing and laughing and laughing.
I appreciate that, Mike. Thanks for all your help and support.
You're welcome. But yeah, Insomniac's production is crazy because they have 3 teams right now, basically firing on all cylinders. And it was like, at first it was like, oh, well, that Miles Morales team must have been getting, a lot of help from other teams. But now they're doing something that's, I'm sure it's going to be using some Spider-Man tech here, but it's going to be a bigger, project.
This is not just Spider-Man again. Yeah, exactly. It has to be it's not even like Infamous. Like what the rumors were, we were going to get an Infamous game, which was that's Sucker Punch, right? Am I mixing that up? Okay, yeah. So
that's Sucker Punch.
Yeah. So, but it's like it's not like they could take the tech from Spider-Man and apply that to this, because Wolverine does not move like Spider-Man. It's not like you could even like that world where like you're exploring like. I mean, I guess you could do that, but are you going to just be running around like jockeying as Wolverine around the city? I don't think so.
Yeah, you're going to be like climbing up the walls just by using your I am very curious. What is this game going to be? Because this is kind of outside of Insomniac's wheelhouse. They have specialized in basically gadget games for a very long time, right?
Yes.
like games with like really interesting arsenals. Resistance was like that. Ratchet Clank's always been like that, and that worked well for Spider-Man because Spider-Man has gadgets. Wolverine does not have any gadgets. He's kind of like simple as far as superheroes go in some ways. He likes to he attack.
Yeah, he attack. Yes, he attack. Yeah, so, he get mad and attack. Yeah.
Yeah, and he's not like an urban superhero too, like Spider-Man, right? Like you don't really picture him running around a city.
Yeah,
so,
he's from Canada. Yeah, he's outdoorsy.
So I'm very curious what this game looks like. Is it still going to be like an open world game? Like, is there going to be interesting traversal still, or is it maybe going to be more like a God of War, which
like the last Wolverine game? Yeah.
But is it going to be more of a guided, sort of intense single player thing? I don't know. I'm very curious.
Me too. But either way, this is exciting, and I think like you brought up the productivity of Insomniac. That's something that Sony themselves like just explicitly said out loud during that post thing interview with Sid Schumann, who's like the PR rep of like putting the face of Sony when they talk to the public, like putting out blogs and stuff. He was interviewing Herman Holst, and Sid was like, "Hey man, what about that Insomniac?" And Herman's like, "Their productivity is just unmatched," and you could tell he's just like, we don't know how they do it. And and the studio, like most of the people there seem pretty happy. Like I don't want to like speak out of turn and be like, next week we find out that they're working people to the bone and people are like dying in the back office or something. But the people that like worked on one game are continuing to stay and work on the next game, and like they're putting out some of the best games each year. So it feels like if they wanted to like go start their own studios, like they could do that, and the money's out there. But they want to stay there and keep working at these. I think they just have a really good like production schedule and productivity tools and stuff like that, and they're able to get these things done in a way that is much more difficult for a lot of other developers. And I feel like we're lucky to have Insomniac right now.
What do you think the Ratchet team is up to? You think they're just up to gonna make the next Ratchet? You think maybe they're going to make like a multiplayer Ratchet thing again? They kind of tried that with Dreadnought. Dreadnought wasn't entirely multiplayer, but I know it had more of a multiplayer focus, right? I didn't play Dreadnought.
So help me. You're the one that looked into this. What was the Ratchet's team involvement with the Spider-Man games? Like, is that the one that worked on?
No, I don't know. I don't know where this Ratchet team came on before that. I assume that they were working on Spider. I mean, look, I assume like when we say teams, it's not like you can't help on Spider-Man, right? Like there's people like artists and a lot of, it's like, well, we're in this part of the development cycle. So obviously we don't need the artists anymore in this game that's in, the hardcore dev part of the cycle. So now you go work on the art in this one, right?
Right.
But it seems like there's 3 teams there. And the Ratchet team, I don't know, because there's a big gap between the 2 Ratchet games. So I assume like if there was a Ratchet team, they were just working on and Infamous for a while.
Okay. Well, I kind of don't know what to expect other like with these 2 games, announced right now. I feel like it might be a long time before we hear anything from else from Insomniac, but I guess who knows? I mean, if Ratchet and Clank goes on to sell like 5 or 6 million copies over its life, maybe they'll do some like DLC or a multiplayer game or something like that for that.
There was an expandalone and kind of smaller Ratchet and Clank game on PlayStation 3, so
yeah, maybe
that is an option.
Yeah, they could do something like that. We'll see. It might all just depend on how well Ratchet and Clank ends up doing. All right, let's see some other stuff. Forspoken. They showed some more of that. It looks pretty good. It is written by Amy Hennig and Gary Whitta.
Yes.
So Amy Hennig is the creator of Uncharted games, right? Is that the right word for it? Creator. And Gary Whitta.
Yeah, we'll go with that.
Okay. Yeah, one of the key creative people on the early Uncharted games. And then Gary Whitta is a former games journalist turned screenwriter. He wrote Rogue One, or he helped to write Rogue One.
I think he just wrote Rogue One, right?
He wrote Rogue One, and then there was a couple of rewrites after that.
Yeah.
So so he did one pass, and then some other people come in and did another pass, and then the director came in and did another pass. But he has a major credit on a Star Wars and that wouldn't be on there if he wasn't mostly responsible for it. But then he's also written some video game stuff. I think he did one of the episodes for Walking Dead Season 2, like way back when. But yeah, he's working on Forspoken with Amy Hennig. And I mean, I don't know. What do you think of that game? It looks. This is the Square Enix one that's kind of
this is the Final Fantasy 15 team. And and they're kind of using that Final Fantasy 15 engine. And I like what they're doing here. Like when Final Fantasy 13 happened and they had to make like this whole engine for it and it was incredibly expensive, they just had to make 2 more Final Fantasy 13 games. I like this approach a bit more. Like, well, let's use those tools and let's do something kind of new and different here. Yeah, I think it looks really neat. I like the whole kind of it's almost more like that Doctor Strange style magic. A lot of pewing going on there.
Right.
You have the kind of this interesting like dashy traversal. It looks interesting. I've heard some criticisms that the game almost looks like you're running around in like an Unreal Engine tech demo, and I kind of get that a little. It looks very pretty, but in a kind of lacking any identity sort of way. So I don't know. Maybe that's a criticism I may never have thought of myself, but I saw people saying that, and I thought that was interesting.
Yeah,
Maybe had a point.
Yeah, I think it kind of looks like that, but I mean, like like Unreal tech demos right now actually look pretty good. So I'm like, that's okay to a certain point. Also, chat's mad at me because Gary Whitta also wrote Book of Eli with Denzel Washington, a good movie, and he is the creator of the acclaimed board game Space Rocks, which is a game where you put a bunch of rocks in the middle and then you just have to have the most at the end. How do you get the most? That's up to you. You could choose violence. You can have a gun.
So but it's like Calvin Ball.
Yeah, basically, yeah. It's whatever goes. And then, after 30 minutes, who has to... Can you imagine actually playing that game? Whoever has the most rocks at the end of 30 minutes, no other rules, you win. I mean, it would just be chaos. Yeah, it would be...
Yeah, I mean, people get hurt.
Yeah, after like 30 minutes, like you rush to go get him.
30 minutes is a long time for things to get out of hand.
Yes, exactly. Like yeah, whatever. It's a good fun thing from Gary Whitta. All right, and then Uncharted is coming to PC. Mike, what's happening there?
Yeah, so it's a bundle of Uncharted 4 and The Lost Legacy, the expandalone for that game, coming to PC and PlayStation 5. Gosh, it had a date. Was the date written down? I have to go look that up.
It's not written down here, but soon. It's like before the end of the year, right?
Right, and I mean we knew this was happening because that was in like that PowerPoint thingy or whatever forever ago, Uncharted 4, right? But now we actually have early 2022 is what they're saying. So yeah, relatively soon.
Okay.
So that's nice. We expected that. I didn't know Lost Legacy would just be with it immediately, so that's also good. Part of me almost wishes they would just get the trilogy in there too. We could just have all of these things, but pretty good.
Yes, it's at least these games are starting to come to PC, other places, and getting updated for the PS5 is good too.
Your water bottle makes it look like you're just chugging mustard, by the way.
I mean, who says I'm not? I love mustard. 0 calories, a good treat.
Bright nuclear yellow water bottle. God.
Delicious. Just like God intended.
It's such a Wario move.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I mixed in a little bit of garlic in there to celebrate Wario's release day. Then the other thing I have here is God of War, and this is not like the extent of what happened at the show. I think these are the highlights, and then the rest of the stuff was kind of, I think, at best.
Like there's that Project Eve, which I thought, like, wait, is this Parasite Eve? What is Parasite Eve? I never played that. No, this is different. It was a very long trailer for something that, and I hate to be like this, it was like a new IP kind of thing. Like I thought, like, oh, something's coming back. What is this? I don't know, but then. And then it's like you Google it and you see that it was quietly announced in 2019, but nobody cared at the time. It's like, okay. Like, it looks nice. I thought it was near for a bit because there's like an anime girl walking around with like a robot over her shoulder in like a dystopian world. I'm like, is this the next Nier? That's a big deal, right?
Yeah, I thought it looked okay, but it's also like, it's hard to gauge. It feels like one of those, it feels like it's in this modern lineage of games like Wukong, where it's like, this game looks really impressive graphically, and I'm just not sure like what it's going to play like or how it'll feel once I get my hands on it. The problem
is that I think I am kind of sure what it's going to play like, and I'll be like, it's fine.
Okay, well, yeah, in that case, yeah. But that was maybe one of the other games that like was worth mentioning. But then there was like. That Blood Hunt game and stuff like that. Things that just
there was this long middle section of the show where I was kind of despairing. So we got KOTOR, and then we kind of then it was like, here's Tiny Tina again. And
yes.
It
was not good.
Yeah, for a bit there, I was like, oh no, I got my hopes up. They really let the message get out of hand. And then like at the end, and they even like had a break basically like, now here's the good stuff coming up. Like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, you maybe could have peppered just some of that in. I don't know. A little weird,
But they did end it with God of War, and I guess like I'm not really a God of War guy. I tried 2018, I kind of bounced off it, but so I'll ask you, what do you think of how this game looks?
Oh, I think it looks really good. If you like God of War, you're gonna like this. I will say, what are you expecting? It very much is the sequel to that last game, right? I mean, it looks almost near identical, but prettier. Like even I'm surprised a lot of the minor characters are even coming back. But I thought that was a really fun game. I'm excited to just see that on PlayStation 5.
Mm-hmm.
I'm glad to. I think they said somewhere that this is going to be the end of the Norse sort of story. So I'm glad they're not stretching it out to a trilogy. I mean, that was awkward even in the first God of War trilogy. God of War 2 basically just had to end with and come back next time. Like that happens a lot in video game trilogies that are planned to be trilogies. Like they want to be Empire Strikes Back, but it's never that satisfying.
Yeah, it's never works as good as that.
You have the first game that's a satisfying full story because who knows if it's successful, and then you have the second game that's like, well, this is Halo 2 is a big example of that, right? It's like it's just going to kind of end at some point, and then you have to come back and play the third one. So yeah, I think it looks great. I'm excited for it.
I'm interested in from a distance, from someone who might try this one and give it another shot.
Well, it is a weird thing though. It's like because it's so similar, I would almost say to you, I mean,
when I say give it another shot, I will try to finish the first one again.
Right? Yeah, basically almost need to.
Yes, because I want to see the twist, which I'm pretty sure I understand from some spoilers and stuff, and then I want to see what leads him to have to face down Thor and all these other characters and stuff, I think. Did they say who voices Thor? Is it Josh Brolin? It sounded like Josh Brolin.
Not Josh Brolin. They did say, and everybody was excited, but
Clancy Brown is it Clancy Brown? That's the other one it could be.
No, I didn't recognize the name, but everybody was very excited about it. I was like, okay.
But then Odin is played by Toby from that President show, the one that was I can't remember now. The West Wing.
Oh,
so I'm like that's pretty. I'm like that's a pretty good choice.
Ryan Hurst from Sons of Anarchy is.
Oh, okay, all right. Yes, I know who that is.
That I was excited about. Yeah. So, yeah. But yeah. Oh, you know what? God, speaking of characters in Spider-Man 2, we didn't even talk about Spider-Man 2. We got kind of caught on Wolverine there.
That's a good point. Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, there's not that there's a whole ton there, but I was excited because Venom's there. Which I mean, of course, you're going to Venom, right? Like that's what always happens at this time in a Spider-Man franchise. After a while, right? You do two things. Now I got to bring in Venom, which is fine. Venom to me is always never as cool in practice as he is in theory. I always like the idea of Venom, and then when he shows up in things, I'm like, this doesn't.
Have you watched those Venom movies or the first the Venom movie?
I didn't watch the Venom movie.
I haven't either. But watching the trailer for the second one, I'm like, what is going on here? It's got this weird comedic element that's like, I mean, I get Venom's kind of this weird space alien thing and it takes over your brain, and there's some potential for comedy there. But the execution is just so off-putting that I kind of like it. I don't know. I want to watch those things.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if I'm into anti-hero Venom. I think I'm into Venom as I like the idea of Venom being like the ultimate Spider-Man bad guy. I hear such split things about that Venom movie. I just don't know. It's even happening in chat. Like I don't know what to believe. I've heard some people say it was the worst thing ever.
Yeah, like Tom Hardy, Tom Hardy, who's who plays Venom in the movies, is I think he's camping it up, and I'm like, okay, I could be there for that. Like that, I always enjoy it when he kind of goes unhinged. But as for this game, Venom show up, have Venom show up. That makes sense. They did show Spider-Man Peter Parker and Spider-Man Miles Morales standing next to each other, but I think it was confirmed that there is no co-op. So
I imagine you're maybe swapping between the two, and
which it makes sense. Like, what does a co-op Spider-Man game really accomplish?
It would just be you two doing your own things together, which might be fun. But
that could be fun, sure, yeah. But it's also probably not worth the effort to do that because you would still you're just doing your own thing for the most part. Is it really improved by having someone else?
I wonder if it'll be like God of War, where you have the buttons that tell Miles what to do, kind of a thing. Right?
Yeah, it might be something like that.
Something like that. Absolutely. What really excited me was that there's that other guy narrating at the bit, and I was pretty sure that was Kraven the Hunter.
Yeah, I think
so. Which is a really cool OG Spider-Man villain. Like I told you this before, I really liked that original run of Spider-Man comics from the '60s.
Got mine right there.
Yeah, with Lizard and Kraven and that original Rogues Gallery. That stuff's great. So yeah, give me Kraven.
Got my omnibus here of all the originals. It's very good.
Stuff, that stuff rules. Oh, that's so nice. Oh, I might need one of those. Yeah.
Yeah, it's awesome. I got it for $60. It was apparently they're really hard to get. So I was I really lucked out. But I think I think they're coming back right now. So $60 for that huge thing. It's got the whole original run. So. Yeah, well, not the whole, the first, more than the first 100 issues. So, yeah.
Nice.
Okay. Anything else from this Sony event?
That seems like everything, right? Everything that was pretty important. I mean, gosh, we spent a lot of time on it, so I guess we can move on.
Yeah,
But what do you think of the show?
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, let's just give our like overall summation. I thought it was pretty solid. I mean, that first half, I agree, was like, a little bit grim.
We got KOTOR, and then it was quiet.
Quiet for the next half. Like the first half was quiet, except for KOTOR.
It started with that weird, like you put it, like, oh, we had to spend our marketing budget commercial, like this really high concept, expensive commercial, and everybody's like, first thing, like, oh, what is this debuting? Oh, it's just a weird super markety commercial. Okay.
Yeah, I was watching some of the people like reacting to it afterward, and a lot of people are like, "What is this game?" Like for a long time into it, I'm like, "Guys, it's just a commercial. It's just a commercial. It's just a commercial." Yeah. But yeah, it was It was a weird thing, but also it's like I get it. Like, you do have to like start your holiday campaign at some point, and that's what this is going to be. That's fine. So, but overall, I thought the show was good. Like there were some surprises. I think while we had KOTOR remake leaked before, the fact that it showed up here was cool, and then having Wolverine announced from Insomniac, it's like that's just an exciting proposition. And I do think that there is some criticism worth having about it was mostly pre-rendered or CG trailers, and is that stuff really worth getting excited about? It's like, KOTOR remake, I'm like, I was excited about that beforehand. Seeing that trailer didn't really do much for me other than, okay, it's coming. So I'm like, it kind of comes and goes when it's just a CG trailer, but for the most part, I thought it was a good show overall.
Yes, yeah. Like I said, kind of slow there in the middle. I think they could have maybe spaced out some of that exciting stuff in the end amongst the middle stuff. I don't know, but yeah, it was good.
Yeah. And again, like with that CG trailer, so I think George Foreman, who's our who always gets mad at us for being such big Sony fanboys here, saying like, oh, Xbox always gets hated for having CG trailers, and it's like, yeah, I mean, I think I feel pretty similar when each of them do it, and it's just the one difference is like, I trust Insomniac, so I'm like, okay, I'm excited about like promising us Wolverine, and you're just going to show us the CG trailers to say you're working on it. That's fine. That's equivalent to like a press release. And but I also felt like the Starfield pre-rendered trailer, which was also in engine, like the Spider-Man 2 trailer. It's like, okay, you're starting off the marketing cycle here with this, and then the next thing you better show us better be gameplay. Like, that's all. It's okay to start with a CG trailer, just or pre-rendered, whatever you want to call it. Just the next thing I see from these games better be some gameplay to actually get me excited about what they look like. That's all.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and we didn't even talk about like Gran Turismo 7, which I mean looks very, very good.
Yes. The soundtrack on that was very Castlevania, and I like that. It's there's gonna be evil cars or something. Like what?
It was good.
Yeah. What is a Lamborghini? A miserable pirate of horsepower.
Some people forget, like, that used to be like the best, like Sony's best-selling franchise on like PlayStation 1 and PlayStation 2. So I wonder if it could return to that, or if Forza's just taken over. All right, enough of Sony.
Yeah, and Sano Dragoon makes a good point that the Contraband trailer for Xbox did have Steely Dan, which puts it above everything else. I agree. Okay, let's see. We have a little bit of Nintendo news. Mike, did you see this Lego question mark block from Lego?
Yeah, this one's kind of got my intrigue because it's specifically Mario 64 themed.
Yes, it is.
So that's like, ooh, I kind of likey that.
So it's got it looks like Bob-omb Battlefield, and I think maybe what's the
levels are in there?
Yeah, the snow one. It's like the first 3 levels basically is what it is.
Yeah, that Womp's Fortress, and what is that snow one called? The one with the penguin.
Yeah, the one with the penguin. It looks really cool. It's kind of like similar in concept to I think the Death Star, the one that like pulls apart. Excuse me, and then there's stuff inside. This one, it's like it's the question mark block, and then you could flip it open, and then those levels are there. And it's all Super Mario 64 themed. It looks pretty cool. I am also thinking about getting it. Lego's always tough because it's pretty expensive a lot of times, but I'm like, I don't know. I do have fun making these things. My kids like it. My kids watch the video, are like, hey, that looks cool. I would like that. I'm like, yeah, me too. But we'll see. Let's see. This is actually the first I'm seeing this. Again, Canoe will put this together for us. He says Kamiya says that Bayonetta 3 is fine.
I saw a little bit of this. They said that they're excited to show it. They're proud of what they're doing. Basically just talking about it so people don't think it was canceled or something.
Yeah. And then he put here Switch price cut question mark, which I don't know what that's referring to. I'm gonna just Google Switch price cut.
Yeah, I haven't heard anything about that.
The Nintendo Switch is getting a $35. No, this is 2019. So no, okay. So I don't know about that. I would say probably not.
Yeah,
probably.
I don't think so. Right? Like they just.
I don't think so. Yeah.
I mean, maybe to the old the old model, did that ever get a price cut announced?
Okay, so this coming out? Yeah, so let's see. This is, I think that's what it says here. So the original Nintendo Switch model could be getting a price drop when the OLED drops on October 8th. Right. Yeah. I mean,
right, but like, who knows?
but it's like it's already $50 less expensive than the OLED. So I guess if the OLED comes out and quickly drops to 300 instead of 350, then yes, definitely. But I guess we'll see. I guess we'll see on October 8th. It's, you know, a month away. We'll see.
Rumor out there that the Switch price is going to slash to 250 is what people are saying. I mean, it would normally be about time, but it's Nintendo. Who knows?
Yeah, I mean, it's been the best-selling console every month for the last like 24 months or something like that.
Right.
So, yeah. All right. Tripwire, its CEO has stepped down after a hectic weekend where he decided to support a draconian law that encourages other citizens of Texas to harass women who are pregnant and are considering an abortion.
Maybe this is why the week felt long, because it kind of started on with this asshole tweeting about this on Saturday. That was like, or Sunday or whatever it was, on the long weekend. That's what I thought about. I bet everybody who works at Tripwire just loves that this guy decided to do this in the middle of a long weekend.
Yeah, you're trying to enjoy yourself. You have Monday off, and then this guy's like, I support deputizing citizens against one another. Okay. He stepped down on Monday, I think, or maybe it was Sunday, after, you know, definitely some employees were voicing their concerns, saying we don't want to work for someone like this. But also like development partners, people that, you know, Tripwire published games. They published Maneater, stuff like that. And other studios were quick to come out and say, yeah, Chivalry, we don't support this. We don't agree with this, and we're not going to work with them anymore in the future. And that's money out of Tripwire's pocket. And so he stepped down as CEO. I do believe people said he's still on the board of directors and might still have his shares. So it's not like the story's not over yet. But it does seem like they are trying to move in a direction of separating from this guy. And, you know, there was some stories out from former Tripwire employees who are like, this is a company that succeeded despite its CEO, not because of him. He is not important to the success. He, you know, he's often made comments that just felt like, you know, disconnected from the reality of what we're dealing with as employees. So this is honestly probably going to be a good thing for Tripwire in the long run. Yeah. And yeah, I mean, it's just this is a law in Texas that no one really supports. Like even a lot of people from Texas, people who are many who are pro-life, are like, why is there a $10,000 reward to go after these
bounties?
People? A bounty.
We're getting Dog the Bounty Hunter. Yeah, what an idiot. I mean, first off, the thing that he's proud of and happy about is disgusting. But like, how do you not know that maybe you shouldn't talk about it, right? Yep. What a moron. Yep. What a bad person and a
bad and stupid person. Yeah.
Bad, stupid person getting what they deserve, I guess.
Yeah, it's like, I think because there are a lot of pro-life people who work in the industry, and they will still have their jobs, and many of them might even, you know, vocally support it in general. But this specific law is just vile and does not like deserve anybody's support. And if you come out and just like, I love that this is happening, I don't know what to like take away from that other than you are just so you're kind of evil, like kind of All right. Okay. Focus Home Entertainment is now just Focus Entertainment. All right, that's fine. I like Focus Home Entertainment. They made. I like
people simplifying names to a degree, as long as it still makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. And
everybody was just calling them Focus, anyways, right?
Yeah, I think everyone just calls them. I guess I would call them Focus Home here and there, but that's a weird name if you think about it.
I would never do that because I'm not a weirdo like you. So.
I mean, it was their name, so it's just like seems kind of like okay to call them that, Mike. But they publish SnowRunner, so whatever. They get a pass from me, whatever they do. Let's see. Oh, Alan Wake Remastered did get announced. That's coming. That's something we've talked about before. Epic Games is publishing that, so it'll be on the Epic Store. But I think it's showing up at was that one of the trailers that was at the PlayStation 5 event as well? I think it was.
Yeah, Alan Wake was there.
So yeah, so that got confirmed, and then it showed up at that event as well. So it'll be on consoles and things like that. So that's pretty cool. 13 Sentinels Aegis Rim sold 200,000 digital copies in Japan. A pretty successful.
Man, that's a game I really should play.
I think you would enjoy it based on what I know.
I kind of missed it the first time, and it wasn't that long ago. But yeah, that's something I probably should get into.
It sounds like a Vita game, a Vita-ass Vita game. It really.
I think that's it. I think I want to play it on my Vita.
I think you want to play on your Vita, and that's why you missed it. You're like, when is it going to be on here? Yeah. Let's see. MechWarrior 5 is coming to PlayStation. Yoko Taro,
Yoko
Yoko Taro and Square are working on a new game.
Yeah,
do we know anything else about this?
Yeah, it's going to be like a card deck sort of role-playing game, which, man, there used to be a lot. Remember, what was that, Batten Katos or whatever for GameCube?
I'm just letting you say it.
It's called Voice of Cards, the Isle Dragon Wars. We don't know too much about it. I'm not even I'm curious how involved Yoko Taro is, because I mean, I assume that they want him to make the next Nier pretty soon here.
Yeah.
I assume that has to be on the docket, and I assume that must be a priority considering how well Nier Automata sold. And I don't know how well Replicant did. I think Replicant did pretty well for a remake / remaster thing there. So I'm not sure exactly what to expect from this project.
And let's see here. See if there's anything else. Oh, okay, yeah, just announced today. The court issued an injunction that prohibits Apple from preventing developers from steering customers to other ways of paying for content. So let me simplify that.
Yes, please.
Yes. You go into an app and you go in there and they're like, hey, do you want to buy some content or do you want to subscribe? And you would hit a button and the only thing it would be able to take you to is the Apple Pay model, where you would just pay in the Apple App Store and pay through them to ensure that Apple would get its cut. What the judge is saying now is Apple can no longer limit people to just that option like through its rules. They will have to enable someone like Fortnite and Epic to say, hey, do you want to buy some of our content in our game? Well, click this button and we're going to take you to a store in the browser and you could just pay us directly. And so that's
one of the main things that Epic wanted?
That's one of the main things Epic wanted. And it's one of the things it's like seems like the most fair and kind of logical. And one of the things the judge can come through and say, you should just let people do this, and this solves 90% of the problems. Now, Epic still wants to like put its own payment engine inside the game directly, natively, but even if it's just like steering you to the browser, that's going to be like, for people who want to do it, that's going to enable the companies to get a lot more of their profit. And Apple's going to like just have to enable it, seems like, at least in the United States. And really, I think they'll have to do it worldwide, because you can't just have it in just the United States. So, yeah, it's a pretty big move. I think Dean is actually writing up the story for us about this right now, trying to get all the ins and outs of exactly what this means. But in general, it just means that developers will be able to steer you to other ways of paying. And then finally, not on the list here, but I think I remembered it. The Halo flight, the next Halo Infinite flight, starts September 24th. They announced this yesterday. Kind of got lost in all the PlayStation news, but I think if you got into the last Halo flight, I think you'll probably get into this one as well.
So I won't be.
But if Mike checks his email, he will see that he was explicitly told to just do this one thing, which is join the Halo Insider program. It's a quick button you press on the website.
Halo Insider program.
I don't think you have to do it. Yeah, it's right there. But it's we went from the last time when you got yelled, or when I got yelled at by you for not getting you in soon enough. It's that same thread. But yeah, I think if you go to the Halo Insider program, you should be able to sign up. And if you just wait, I think you'll get a notification saying, hey, come play it on Xbox or PC or whatever. So yeah, September 24th. That's 2 weeks from now. So
I'm going to become a Halo Insider.
Good for you, Mike. I'm proud of you.
I'm signing into my Xbox account. This is good stuff. I'm glad I'm doing this in the middle of the show. I am 18 years older. Yes. I agree to the confidentiality statement that I totally read. I agree to that.
Remember to verify your email, says chat. All right. While Mike is doing that, let me see here. I think we're done with the news, actually. So we have some super chats. I'm going to bring up, I'll pull up the questions, but Mike, should I do some questions first, or are you ready for the super chats?
I'm ready for super chats. I can take a break from filling up internet forms.
All right, let's do it. Again, if you want to send in a super chat to ask a question, make a comment, to yell at us, feel free to do that. We'll get to them right now.
Who don't ever want to yell at me? I have my glasses on now. You can't punch a guy with glasses. Kung Fu Hot Dog says, hey, Jeff and Mike, YouTube unsubbed me. What? That's just an opportunity for you to sub again.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, says he loved Project Even for spoken trailers from the Sony thing. Then asks, do you think Tencent's tentacles will infiltrate all of gaming as we know it?
I mean, I think what are tentacles other than money? Just take Tencent's money. Tencent is not really, for the most part, for most of these acquisitions, are not like fully acquiring any of these studios. Occasionally they are. Here and there they are. But for the most part, they're taking minority acquisitions. They don't own or control the company. They're just giving you, they're just basically giving people a pile of money to say, hey, we want to have some ownership. So if you sell, we get some money on the back end, or we might have some right to your profits at some point. But they don't have a lot of say in how these companies run. So if someone comes to you with a bag, and they're going to give you the bag and not say we don't want any like full control or anything like that, you're still going to own and control your company, like Epic, who has a minority ownership with Tencent. That's still owned and operated by basically Tim Sweeney and a few other directors. Take the bag, take the money, and it's fine. Like, if you like, one of the few things you could do to get money out of China right now is to like make a video game company and get an investment. And you should take that money.
Take the money and run. All right, from Brett Brigham. Congratulations to Epic for overthrowing the evil Apple empire with the celebration emoji. That's a bit. It is. You know, I didn't know how many wins Epic was going to get on this, and that is a win.
That's a win. Yeah, it's a win, and it's a win for everybody too. So it's like, hey, you know, I think I gave Epic a lot of crap for this, saying, hey, most of this stuff feels like a crusade, but in the end, if this is the only thing that happens from this, it's a win for all the developers working on the iOS stuff. So, yeah, that's awesome.
Mm-hmm. And then Space Novakin says, Game Boy Color are different generations. Yes, thank you. That's very true and obvious.
God.
Yes, Brett Bingham also says, what's up, Jeff Hansgruber Grubb? Will Xbox finally get off their butt and secure a Marvel game franchise? They should just buy Rocksteady already.
I don't know. I haven't heard anything about them working with Marvel specifically. I think I know that Special Nick, I think, says that they are going to work with Lucasfilm more than they're going to work with Marvel, but I haven't heard about that either. So I don't know. I do think that they probably will eventually come up with something, but it does feel like Sony has sort of a grip on that, where Microsoft's sort of being like, hey, whatever.
All right, then. And then ST says, hello, beautiful boys. Mike, how are you? I am good. Jeff, any 2K/Xbox validity? ACG hinted at a big acquisition within the month. Any news on Warner Brothers /JP investment? What's JP? What's JP?
Jurassic Park.
I know, that's what I thought. That's like Jurassic can't possible junction point? Is that a thing?
JC Penney. I don't know. I'm not. I'll have to think. Maybe someone in chat will tell us.
You guys, you're not as smart as you think with your abbreviations. We can't handle them.
Yeah, we can't. Acquisitions are always on the table. Microsoft's definitely still considering a lot. I think the 2K one seems, or the Take-Two one seems a bit extreme. That'd be a lot of money. Microsoft does have enough money, and they would have enough money left over even if they did go for it, like $30 billion or something like that. But I don't know. I don't know if Microsoft has interest in acquiring a company that doesn't want to be acquired, which I think Take-Two probably doesn't want to be. So it'd have to be kind of hostile. I don't know if they have the stomach for that. So I don't know. I think I'm skeptical about Take-Two, and I think it's healthy to have that skepticism about something that huge. Some of these other ones, I think there's a chance that at any week here we could hear about something, but I just haven't heard anything specifically right now. I heard the rumblings about Bethesda before they happened, but it was like, it was vague, but they were the same rumblings that Bethesda was going to happen. I haven't heard the similar things this time, but I guess that doesn't mean it won't happen. It just means I'm not hearing it. I guess we'll see.
Maybe JP just meant Japanese developers, because everybody's been wondering if they're going to get a Japanese studio.
Oh yeah. Okay. Yes. Right. Yes. Japan. Yes. Thank you.
Yeah, man. People they're just really waiting for that to come down. I don't think anybody's going to be happy until we get that.
Yeah. I mean, we'll probably hear something about them investing in a Japanese company at some point. I think that's probably happening.
All right, then. Thank you, ST. Kevin S. Hello, fellas. What year do you see Wolverine releasing on PlayStation 5, 2024 or 2025? Please say out loud, we have the meats. We have the meats.
We have the meats.
Man, I don't even want to think about 2025. Because considering how productive they've been, like, I think 2024 is possible. I think it's probably 2024. That'll be, 3 years since the release of Miles Morales?
Yeah.
Which, man, 3 years does not seem like very much time to make one of these games anymore, actually. But, Insomniac is on a bit of a different level right now. I don't know what it is. I don't know what genie they discovered, but expect 2024. 2025 is completely possible, though.
Yeah, right. I think if I had to bet right now, just the safe bet I think would probably be 2025, but because even if they do try to get out in 2024, it might get delayed. It feels like that seems like totally what will happen here. But I won't be surprised if they come out and try to say 2024 at some point for this game. I mean, Insomniac's had one or two games per year for quite some time. If they have Spider-Man 2 in 2023, I think they should be ready to reload and be ready to go with Wolverine in 2024. I guess that wouldn't surprise me at all.
T-Bucket23 says, love the show. And also, Jeff, I'm in Fort Collins, Colorado on vacation, and I'm loving it here. Great beer, food, and sights to be seen.
Yeah, Fort Collins has got a lot of great beer. It's where New Belgium's from. It's pretty country, for sure.
Victor Marinez says, really surprised Disney is giving Sony 2 console-exclusive games. Does this mean anything for Indiana Jones or more exclusives in the future? Well, like, Sony has a thing with Spider-Man. Right, so like that I don't they have a thing with
Spider-Man in the movies. They actually don't own the rights for the video game character, which is why he shows up in stuff like Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3 and things like that. But they are willing to spend the money to like license him out for video games and to pay the money to get an exclusive for Marvel's Avengers and stuff like that. Like, yeah, they're willing to do that.
I guess I guarantee you, Disney does not care about the console wars, right? It is up to whoever wants to give them money.
Yeah, and they want to make deals, though. That's the thing. Yeah. They are actively pursuing these deals wherever they can find them, and Sony's willing to pay up right now. I think, even Nintendo was with Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3. So, like, I think they'll keep looking for these options. And then what does it mean for Indiana Jones? I think my hunch right now is that Indiana Jones might come out and actually be Xbox exclusive. But that they might have to renegotiate whatever Bethesda came up with, because Bethesda was not owned by Microsoft when that deal was negotiated. They could not even interfere with it, even when they started like saying, "Hey, we are going to acquire you," and they announced it publicly. They couldn't interfere with any of that stuff. So, but I think they might have like been willing to renegotiate it, come through and pay the money and just make that exclusive. I guess we'll have to wait and see for that, though.
Kyrie Williams says, as someone who primarily plays Xbox, should I be upset and worried that KOTOR Remake is not coming to Xbox? I feel it belongs on that console. I mean, you could be upset. It might show up there eventually, but we know it's going to be a console exclusive for a bit. It is a little weird because, I associate KOTOR with Xbox, and I'm a little surprised that this is coming to PlayStation, but that's where the money came from.
Mm-hmm.
Kung Fu Hot Dog says, hey, Jeff, given Insomniac Games projects, are they still working on Sunset Overdrive, Apocalypse for PlayStation? Have a great weekend, you two, and stay cheesy. What is Sunset Overdrive Apocalypse?
I don't know.
I know Sunset Overdrive. I didn't know that series was. I thought that series was pretty much dead. I like Sunset Overdrive fine. I don't like it as much as some people. I'm like the person who's like, no, let's move on. That's fine. Sunset Overdrive was okay, but I'd rather they do Spider-Man and Ratchet and Clank and other stuff.
Did Sunset Overdrive ever come to PlayStation 4? I feel like that was in the talks.
Is this like the Sunset?
It might just come to PlayStation. That might happen, but I don't think Insomniac would actually do the work there.
Did you Google Sunset Overdrive Apocalypse? Did anything come up?
No, nothing came up.
Okay, then. I don't know what that is. Maybe there's a rumor or something. Someone will have to illuminate us. All right, then. Uriel Delgado says, so I felt Skyward Sword wasn't worth the $60, but Pikmin 3 was worth the $60. Also, did they say if Wolverine was going to be rated more? It better be.
Probably rated M for mature.
Rated. Rated. They didn't say that. I assume we can expect this at least an M. It's not very hard to get an M for a video game, so I think they'll get that.
Yeah, but I think it's like it probably wouldn't hurt that game too much. I guess Wolverine has like a lot of young fans, so I wouldn't be surprised if they try to get T for teen. But how much does that really hurt sales anymore? Especially because so many sales are digital. So I don't know.
You know what? Well, you know what was a $40 remaster game on Switch was Sonic Colors Ultimate. So
yep.
Yeah.
If you don't want to pay $60 for something, go pay $40 for Sonic Colors Ultimate. Yeah, go for it. Yeah, there you go. Pikmin 3 was worth $60 though. Yeah.
BitCloud Gaming says, what up, Grubb? I got to get you on my show for a guest appearance / interview. So much to be excited and happy about.
I agree. Yeah, I'll let me know. Probably sometime in October, once I'm a little bit past this early beginning of the school year schedule, which is just absolutely killing me. Like I think like Friday evenings I can usually do stuff, but yeah, get a hold of me, DM me.
Adam Pennell says, any idea what Xbox will release in 2022?
Yes.
Thanks.
Yeah, so 2022 is going to be Starfield, Redfall is the name of the game, and then Forza Motorsport 8 or whatever it is. Like those are the three major games. There'll be some smaller stuff, but the three big games are those games. And then 2023 is really when they're definitely going to hit that one big game per quarter. At least that's the plan.
I guess Fable, a 2023 thing.
Fable, Avowed, Perfect Dark.
Yeah.
So many games are playing for 2023 right now.
Okay. Cowhand Fudka says, any new Xbox news or rumors that aren't Halo Flight? Thank you. Give him something, Jeff. Give him something to nibble on. Give him a little. I know it's not Grub Stacks, but give him a little taste.
There's just not much. There's not much right now. That's the thing. Like, we know everything right now. We know the games that are coming in 2023. We know what's coming in 2022. We know what they're doing this holiday. There's just not much else to talk about. They are at a point where they need to just sell us the things that they're talking about. I'll start taking another look here pretty soon, but there's not like people that either just shipped a game or they're about to ship a game and they're gonna take time, like take the holidays, come back early next year and start thinking about what's next. So yeah, not much to talk about right now.
Donnie Reese, hey Donnie, says, do you think the injunction could pave the way for companies to start pointing customers to external storefronts on consoles? If so, what are the ramifications of that?
Yes, but like, I mean, it's not. I suppose that it could, and I think that would be like Fortnite on consoles could point you to the browser, but I think the difference there is using a browser on a phone, on a smartphone or a tablet is much more, it's easier and something people are much more familiar with than using a browser on a console where it'll be really confusing. And if you point people to a browser, say pay through the browser and add your credit card info, and you'd be like, well, I already have my credit card info saved to the Xbox. Why can't I just buy it through the store? I'm just not going to buy this right now. And if they create too much friction and then they see people aren't actually going through with sales, it won't be worth it. Even they'll just keep giving Microsoft and Sony their cut. And honestly, what this might mean is Sony and Microsoft might be in a position where they'll say, hey, we'll give you a little bit more money. We will renegotiate our cut. And I think that might be what happens here more than anything else. But, I guess, if someone gets really good at making that process very easy, I guess it could happen where people start getting directed to the browser instead. Most people aren't going to want to buy stuff through the browser on a console.
Multivitamin Orange says, will GTA 5 be a PlayStation VR 2 launch title? Yeah, we did talk about that, but there was an extended PlayStation or Grand Theft Auto 5 on PlayStation 5, and I think it even got delayed a little bit. Yeah, I think that's the most disliked trailer from the show because first off, people are getting a little sick of Grand Theft Auto 5. It was delayed, and also I think some people are like, wow, does this look better? I'm not sure.
Does this PlayStation 3 and Xbox 360 game look any better here on this console?
Right. I tell you what, they're gonna start feeling some pressure to announce Grand Theft Auto 6 pretty soon here, I think, because people are starting to take it out on Grand Theft Auto 5.
Yep. Yeah, I think you might be right.
Yeah, but no, I don't think it's gonna be a PlayStation VR 2 launch title. Space Nova King. So can xCloud now on iOS?
Can xCloud have an app now? No. The issue there was not payment. The issue, I don't know. Maybe it might, but I think so. The problem was that xCloud was trying to have a bunch of games in one app that you can access, and then Apple's like, the only way we're going to approve this app is if you submit each game that you play over the cloud separately and let us judge them each separately. And I think this injunction would not necessarily negate that specific weirdness. But I don't know. Maybe I think maybe this creates a new workworkaround. I'm not sure.
Brett Bingham says JP equals Japan. Jeff with the facepalm emoji.
I know. Get mad at me.
Sparing me from it.
Yeah, you're the one that's coming at me like, JP, what's JP? And I'm yeah. No, look, if I would have read it, I would have been like, oh, okay, I get it now. But when you're just like, what's the JP initial stand? I'm like, oh, I guess I don't know.
Look, Jeff, my friction with you is not manufactured. I'm with you on this. Well, look,
Okay.
they said WB/JP, so you already put me in game developer mind. I was
Yeah.
thinking, like, Warner Brothers, and I don't know what JP is. And I
Also, it's
thought
3
it was
more
Jurassic
letters. It's 3 more letters. Japan.
Yeah,
Just say
exactly.
Japan.
Just write Japan. Come on.
Dare you? How dare you all?
Boston Theory says Epic has brought Apple to its knees. This should be
Wow.
a national holiday. I also
Hashtag
made
free Fortnite.
All right. I also made sure to use my Twitch Prime to sub to your channel. Say smash the like button,
Thank you.
or I'm going vegan. Man, I'm not making any promises I don't intend to keep. I'll tell you that much. That would be about 90% of my diet just gone.
Smash the like button, or I'm going vegan. I had some vegan oat milk earlier, so
Wow, sounds awful.
I'm already halfway there. It's actually really delicious. The oat
Sure,
milk is very good.
Sure it is.
It's better than from the cows.
Look, I don't like regular milk either.
Okay, fair enough. That's fine. Yeah, milk. Yeah, most of the time I don't like milk.
I like milk as an ingredient. I don't like just drinking milk.
Yeah,
I don't know. It's
if it's
weird.
in cake, I love milk. Yeah, absolutely.
Sure. Fossil 7 says, is NetherRealm up for grabs, and is Death Stranding the end of Kojima relationship, at least for this generation, since his games take time?
NetherRealm, I think, is up for grabs. Yeah, I think you didn't have to pay a lot of money, but if you have that money, I think they were on the shopping block or whatever it's called. And then I think Kojima's relationship with Sony, I think, is maybe over for this generation, because I think Kojima wants to kind of keep doing what he's doing, and Sony, I don't think, even though Death Stranding, I think in the end was pretty successful, I think Sony feels like it wasn't the kind of success that they want when they go and invest in something like that. So it's not what they're looking for.
Right. And then the last one here for now from Don Derrickson, is COVID still actively delaying game development? Yes.
Yes. Yep.
Plus, because we had like the false start aspect of it, and now like there's a lot of uncertainty, which I think is giving people a lot of difficulties, right?
Yes. Yeah. I mean, it's the same thing, and while one or like a handful of countries got pretty well vaxxed, even those countries, there are a lot of countries that aren't nearly as well vaccinated, but even in the countries where they are super vaccinated, like Israel, Delta variant's causing a lot of problems, and people are going to the hospital still. So it's just like, yeah, it's going to continue to be a problem for quite some time. Okay, got a lot of questions here from the Discord. Let's get to them. Let's get going. From Louis Patelli. I meant to ask this last week and I forgot, so before it gets lost in all the PlayStation event hype, what did you guys think of the Midnight Suns gameplay reveal? A card combat system? Really? I looked at this a little bit. I didn't watch the whole thing. I'm kind of in a position with this game where I'm like, I'm gonna have to play it for myself. But some of the most recent, there have been like a lot of card games recently that people are over the moon for. I never played like Monster Train or a couple of these other ones. Slay the Spire, right? Which is the one I want. I do want to try Slay the Spire, but people adore Slay the Spire. So it's like, if you get anywhere near that, this could be like a pretty big success.
Well, I mean, I'm sure it's still more XCOM than it is like a Slay the Spire all of a sudden, right?
I think you're probably right, but I also think that people need to play it to know whether or not they like it. And a lot of people are just watching, be like, this looks like a mobile game, and freaking out. And it's like, okay, you guys need to just chill about this. It's not exactly what you were expecting, but I don't know what you were expecting. I bet if it looked like an XCOM game, exactly.
XCOM, yeah.
Yeah, but I think if it looked exactly like XCOM, many people would have been like, what is this? This looks like a mobile game. Because I think people just don't, were coming to it for Marvel, not coming to it because it's Firaxis. And so it was going to be disappointing to a lot of that audience no matter what. Yeah, I want to play it. From Delta Prime 84, how many stars in the Tokyo Dome would you give AEW All Out 2021?
Oh man, well, so we're using Meltzer's system here, which used to be a 5-star system. And
now
then
it's
he just
a
started
6-star, yeah.
Oh no, he gave
7?
Omega. He gave Omega versus Okada at what, Dominion 2019. When was that? He gave that 7. So,
oh my god.
So yeah, I'll give it 5. I'll give it 5 stars. I'll give it the top. I don't know, maybe 6. It was certainly the best pay-per-view I had watched in a very long time. The Lucha Bros versus the Young Bucks in the steel cage was an absolutely fantastic match.
Just awesome.
A lot of other good stuff. The main event. I love Christian, so I love seeing Christian getting a main event slot against Kenny, and then there's just a bunch of cool reveals and surprises. Certainly the best pay-per-view I can remember watching in a long time, especially like outside of some of the New Japan ones. Like New Japan's had some very good Dominions and Wrestle Kingdoms the last few years, although they seem to be cooling a little bit now because a lot of their talent left to start at AEW. But like in terms of like a WWE pay-per-view that was that good, I think I had to go back to like Money in the Bank 2011. That was the one I think where Punk fought Cena, Christian fought Orton, and Daniel Bryan won the Money in the Bank ladder match, right? So yeah, very, very, very good pay-per-view. If you have any interest in wrestling, you should watch. You watched it, didn't you, Jeff?
I did.
Yeah.
I loved it. Yeah. It was awesome. It was really entertaining. It was they had lots of great drama, lots of great back and forth. So I thought, that Lucha Bros match, though, was just fantastic. Just an all-time classic for me in terms of the wrestling I've watched. Yeah. Let's see, another one from Delta Prime. Have you heard if Sega is happy with Humankind's sales and if they are going to continue to produce content for it? I haven't heard, but I think that they are going to probably stick to this game for now and give it a chance, because this is the kind of game that can like slowly build over time and get an audience. Like, if a year from now, if it still has like 5,000 players per day on Steam, like 5,000 concurrents, that's really good actually. So, and I think they can get there.
I think they know there's a bit of a long game to this one. It's
I agree.
Marathon, not a sprint, and all your cliches.
Yes. And then I noticed in some marketing material, Deathloop is coming to PS5, Steam, and the Bethesda launcher. I had totally forgotten that Bethesda made their own launcher. When is Microsoft going to kill that thing? I don't know. I talked about this on Grubb Snacks a little bit. I don't know. I feel like there's some chance that they could adopt it as like a Windows game launcher, because the Windows current stuff, like the Xbox app, are so bad and so hated. But I don't know. They might just take that team and then put them on the Windows Store or something like that instead.
Yeah, that's right. It was like right when it was like Fortnite and Overwatch were things. It's like, well, we all need our own launchers now. Look how popular like bad on it. Yeah. Ugh.
From Turbo Sean, happy Friday, Jeff, Freak on a Leak, Grubb, and Mike, and the amazing Technicolor Game Boy Minotti.
I like that, man. Yeah. I like me some Andrew Lloyd Webber, man. Give me some Joseph and the Amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat. My code is yellow.
Yeah, you could do a musical based on the Game Boy Color. Right. There you go.
Close every door to
so I'm gonna mute him here.
Hide all the world from.
All right, so I've muted him. We're all good now. All right, he says, I'm sure most people will be asking questions about PlayStation this week, but I want to make sure, or I want my first question on GamesBeat Decides to be a hard-hitting one. And thank you, Turbo Sean, for coming in and sending in questions. So I'd like to know, Jeff, how does it feel when you're digging through the ditches and burning through the witches and slamming in the back of your Dragula? I got to be honest, Turbo Sean, it feels wonderful. Hey, Mike, I've come back around, and Dragula is just awesome. I love Dragula so much right now. I think it should be in every video game again. I don't know why it ever stopped. I guess for young people who might be unaware.
Yes, and for the young people who don't know what you're talking about, explain what you're talking about.
Wait, do you seriously not know what I'm talking about? Oh my God. Okay, so there was a musician named Robert Zombie, or Rob Zombie for short.
Rob Zombie. Rob Zombie, not Bob Zombie.
Bob Zombie. Yeah, Bob Zombie. And in the late '90s, early 2000s, it was probably early 2000s.
This is when I was listening to Andrew Lloyd Webber, by the way.
Okay, that explains it. So when this is like when music or when games were coming on CD and started licensing music a lot, like a way more. One of the songs that was on multiple video game soundtracks, just everywhere, was Dragula by Rob Zombie, and the chorus was, burn through the witches and dig through the ditches and slam in the back of my Dragula. Okay, whatever. It's about.
Do I look like a Rob Zombie guy to you?
No, but you're a video game player. It was unavoidable. It was like there were jokes about it in every issue of EGM. It was it was a thing.
I probably also didn't understand what they were talking about then.
It was like an early meme. Actually, it was like one of the first internet memes.
I'll take your word for it.
All right, these kids are gonna kill me. All right, from Sosuke. What's up, Jeff and Mike? So already the internet is a flaming hot mess about the KOTOR remake. So I'll ask you this. Based on what you know, will it come to Xbox after 6 months or a full year? I'll say that there's
6
no
months
way.
seems early. 6 months seems
6
early.
months seems early, but they did the way that they phrased it was it is a console. It's a PlayStation 5 console exclusive at launch. They didn't say like timed exclusive. They just said at launch, and I think there's a chance it could be like 6 months, but it's probably a year. It's probably a year. And they did say it will be on PC at launch as well, so it's going to be on PC if that's where you want to play it instead. That's an option. Let's see. All right, we got a couple of Nick Turbo bangers here. After Wolverine, will they make a standalone game like Miles Morales starring X-23? That could be kind of a good idea for a standalone there. That'd be fun.
Sure.
Let's see. And then he says, why is Thor in the new God of War such a bear? Have you seen this, Mike? Have you seen Thor from the new God of War?
Well, so in the last God of War, like Baldur was like a really skinny guy, right? So I think they're doing the opposite there. It's like going against expectations, but also playing off of what they did before.
And it's also like, you know, I'm like frustrated with this one because the hot takes from some real dumb idiots is like he doesn't look like a strong warrior, and I'm like, have you seen like any like world's strongest man competitions? Have you seen those guys? They are not bodybuilders. They are big guys with so much muscle, like they have to like eat so much to get the muscle, so they end up looking like fat guys, and then they go and they're lifting cars off the ground. Like that's what an actual like strong person looks like.
The world's strongest man was Mark Henry, not Hulk Hogan.
Yeah, Mark Henry, not Hulk Hogan. Exactly. And so it's like, it's just very frustrating like how dumb these people are. And that's why he looks like a bear. Okay. From Benji Bop. Happy Friday, Jeff. Broncos suck Grubb, and Mike, Browns suck Minotti. Go Bucks.
For once, that's not true.
And also, I don't care. Yeah, Broncos can go to hell. I'm a Detroit Lions fan. And okay. Detroit Lions aren't good either. So, all right. Yeah, and the Browns are actually, they might be good this year.
People expect them to win the division for once. I don't know what to do with these expectations.
I know, you probably fail. Probably miss.
I still expect that. You're right. Yeah, we'll see. Did you watch the game yesterday? First game?
I watched a little bit of it. I got busy with the kids, but it was good. It was a good game from what I watched. All right, here's Benji's question. I would actually understand if it was KOTOR 3, but now Sony is locking up remakes for games that have never been on their platform. I get it, money talks, but have we seen this kind of precedent from an exclusivity deal, timed or not, before? It just really rubs me the wrong way. Thanks as always. Have a great weekend. I mean, yeah, money talks is kind of the end of the story there, but I think people should feel completely free to be rubbed the wrong way by these things, because at the end of the day, this is just a company paying money to keep something off of a competitor's platform. They're not really adding much to this. This game would have existed whether or not Sony paid this money or not. The game probably would have been just as good. It probably would have got the same investment from Aspire and whoever, like Lucasfilm. So yeah, it's just a company coming in to pay to keep other people out. But it's the way the business is working right now for Sony. It enables them to bring it to their showcase and make a big deal out of it. So they're going to keep doing it, and it's going to end. It's coming to PC as well. It'll be on Xbox eventually. You'll get the chance to play it. So yeah, I think it's hard to get too upset about it. But if it does rub you the wrong way, I don't blame you. Benji continues, another Lucasfilm one. Does the KOTOR exclusivity change your opinion on whether Indiana Jones will be exclusive or not? And I talked about this a little bit. I think it does. It does change my opinion a little bit. I think when it was signed, I bet it was going to be multi-platform. But I think there's a good chance they will renegotiate that one, because it's coming out so long from now. It'll be such a weird backslide to be like, oh, well, and this is the one Bethesda game from Machine Games that is going to be multi-platform and on PlayStation 5. It'll be worth whatever money it takes to get it to be exclusive, I think, to Microsoft at that point. And then Benji says, do you feel like Sony still has some bullets left in the chamber? We obviously didn't hear from PSVR 2, but we also didn't hear from Naughty Dog at all. The Cory Barlog directed game from Santa Monica, Bluepoint, Asobi, and Ben, to name a few. So yeah, I think...
There's plenty of things. I mean, got the Ghost of Tsushima 2 is going to be a thing.
Yes,
that's going to get announced probably this time next year.
And then Infamous, seem like those rumors probably are something. I think they probably are working on Infamous. Yeah.
Well, then it would be Infamous before. I mean, I imagine that Sony is probably trying to not rub Sucker Punch's noses in it, but being like, hey, look at Insomniac and how they're releasing 2 to 3 games. So you guys could probably work on Ghost of Tsushima and something else, right?
Yes. Yeah. I mean, at that point you say, hey, all right, well, let us have like another studio because Insomniac has 2 studio headquarters stuff. So yeah, like you grow and that's how you do that. But yeah, Sony definitely has more in the chamber. We talked a little bit about Twisted Metal. They haven't talked about Factions. They haven't talked about that Last of Us remake. They'll have stuff probably to talk about, like
Team Asobi.
Team Asobi's next game. They'll have stuff that they'll bring up following next E3. Not in that time frame, probably in the next fall again, but they'll talk about that stuff eventually. All right, got about a dozen more. Let's get through these. So Delta Prime 84 comes back with, could you look into getting SCS Software on your How Games Make Money podcast? I love their Truck Sim franchise and would love to hear their perspective on how they built up such an enduring fan base and how their Truck Sim games received overwhelmingly positive ratings on Steam. Yeah, that'd be a good one. I just talked to a developer this past week who's actually here based in Colorado, and they started publishing physical games. They did the one for Doki Doki Literature Club Plus, and so that will be coming out soon. But then maybe after that, I'll talk to SCS. That would be a really good idea. Yeah, thank you for that idea. This one's from Blue. Do you think gaming consoles will ever become modular, and that upgrades will be sold piecemeal?
Like Sega CD and 32X?
Or like the expansion pack for the Nintendo 64? All these things just sound like bad ideas. That's not what people want. If you want modularity, the PC is available to you. There's a reason people.
There's kind of that with PlayStation, like like what we're getting with these external hard drives or internal hard drives. I don't even know.
A little bit.
A little bit.
But and even that stuff is like confusing to some people, and people hate it. Like you say, you're not going to do that sort of thing. I think that's how most people feel.
Absolutely not.
Nick Turbo, candy corn, yay or nay? Nay. It's garbage.
Hey, I was worried we were going to get into a very big fight
for that trash. That stuff I mean, they don't even make new candy corn. This is someone else's joke. I don't know whose it is, but I'm just going to say it. They don't make new candy corn. They just dig through the trash every year, get a shovel, and they put it back in the bags and sell it to you again.
Well, I guess
no one
appreciate the economics of it at least.
From Stephen Lamb. Happy Friday, gentlemen. Watching yesterday's PlayStation Showcase, I didn't see too many things that I was really surprised about. While it was a good show, I was not surprised by most of it due to what we expected to see from Sony, but also because of keeping up with GamesBeat Decides. This got me wondering, as industry insiders, and that's in quotation marks, how often are you surprised by what you see in the presentations like yesterday? Yeah, I think
so surprised us. Like you said, like, because you told me like there's gonna be something Marvel.
Yeah.
And then they had that
Guardians of the Galaxy
trailer. I was like, Jeff, is this what you were talking
about? I'm like, maybe. I don't think so because it's supposed to be surprising, but maybe things got crossed or something. So we were surprised that it was Wolverine, that it was Insomniac. We didn't know those details. We just knew that there was going to be a big surprising Marvel game.
I was still pretty excited and surprised to see KOTOR finally happen. Sometimes you hear about something for so, like with Elden Ring, right?
Yes.
You're waiting for the shoe to drop for so long that even though you're pretty sure the shoe is real, you still have a pretty big reaction when it finally hits the ground.
Let's see. Steven has another one here. Sony will now be the home of both Spider-Man and Wolverine games. Does Microsoft have a chance to break into the Marvel universe for their own superhero game, or is the DC universe the more likely option now? I think Marvel as a game, I mean, I guess, maybe they end up buying one of these WB studios and they say, hey, let's license that stuff. I guess it makes some sense, but I think that Marvel is still probably the more, like, the juicier option there between the two.
Nick Turbo really wants you to make a poll about candy corn, by the way.
Okay, I will do that after.
I know how that's going to go, but let me ask, so I think to me, the big character that is still available and out there is Superman, DC. It seems like that's the one that Microsoft can maybe be interested in because you can do some of that cloud computing stuff there. You can make a really big game. You can make something pretty impressive with Superman. It's something people have wanted for a bit. It'll make Greg Miller happy, and we all want that, right? Yeah. So that seems to make the most sense. Like, I know Superman's not the hottest thing in the world right now, but he's still Superman.
Yeah, I feel like something that would be easier, makes more sense, and has like global appeal at the moment is Black Panther. Like, there's no Black Panther game announced, so
well, we kind of had the Avengers thing, but
yeah, sure.
It's different. It's different.
It's different.
I mean, there's also Spider-Man things coming to that Avengers game. Right?
Exactly right. Okay.
Oh, here's my question for you.
Yeah.
Here's my question for you. How is Warner Brothers and Rocksteady feeling about the Suicide Squad game now that it seems like that movie kind of came and went a little bit? It seemed that there was a lot of hype and interest, and then when it came out, that didn't necessarily translate to super box office success. I know, like, the pandemic's been happening.
I mean, it's on HBO Max or whatever.
But even compared to other movies that have similar distributions like that, it didn't seem to make as much of an impact.
I think
like,
it definitely
compared to even like Free Guy or like Jungle
It's a shame
Cruise or
because it's awesome. That movie's fantastic. Like, it's like really, really fun. It's like of these movies that have come out in this past year, I think it's my favorite one. I just think there's like this weird DC group that just likes trash. Like my kids, they love trash. So when it was a trashy Suicide Squad movie, they love that. But yeah, whatever. What does this mean for them? I bet they're like a little bit, shell shocked coming out of it, be like, oh man, are we just gonna miss the timing on this completely coming in after this movie that seems to have like disappeared from the consciousness? Yeah, but they're on this path. They can't abandon it now. So at a certain point, you have to just put your head down and finish the work. So, and if it's good enough, the game will stand on its own, and that'll be enough. But I bet they wish that Suicide Squad was the biggest thing in the world for sure.
Sure.
All right, from Jimothy Ryan. Grubb, you couldn't stop at the Source showcase date. You had to leak Twisted Metal too? Yeah. So Twisted Metal wasn't at the show, at least. But yeah, Twisted Metal is in the works. We'll see it. We'll see it eventually. And I could not stop myself. I'm sorry, Jim. You got to stop telling me these things. That's your problem. From Nick Turbo, what is your earliest memories of the Xbox consoles? I mean, Halo.
Gosh. I'm trying to remember people talking about it. I mean, a lot of it is actually remembering the jokes about its size. Right. I remember maybe making jokes of how big the console was and how big the controller was on like Penny Arcade and stuff like that. Those are my first memories, stuff like that. Yeah,
I guess I remember like some of the early promotions that involved like parties and celebrities. Maybe was The Rock involved with the launch of the Xbox and Bill Gates and The Rock hanging out and
yeah, that sounds right.
Playing Fusion Frenzy or something like that. Yeah, I remember some of that stuff. That's probably the earliest.
I remember the 360 one way better when it was Elijah Wood. And
right.
I remember making big deal. This for the first time ever. People are gonna play Perfect Dark Zero. It's like, whoa, get the historians here. Get your pictures, everybody.
Yeah. Oh, man. From Cole Knapp. Do you put on video game soundtracks to help you focus or inspire you? What do you usually turn on if you do? I do.
Like video game soundtracks. I don't like listening to things while I'm working. That just distracts me. I usually listen to these things like in the car when I'm driving where I could be bored. And then I listen to a lot of video game soundtracks.
If I am doing, if I'm writing, I usually don't have anything on. If I do listen to something, it's ambience that might have like Breath of the Wild music or something like that, which is very sparse. But if I'm doing like video editing or something, and I don't need to hear the audio, I can put on some music or whatever, and I'll put on, I don't know, Ori and the Will of the Wisp, stuff like that, or some bit tunes. Yeah. Let's see. Sosuke. Microsoft/Xbox must have some type of response for this Sony showcase, right? I'm thinking something will get announced soon. I mean,
probably Game Awards.
The Game Awards, but yeah, their response was E3. Like they already had it. Yeah. This is Sony responding to E3. Like,
and of course, there will still be responses to the responses, but it's not going to be super imminent. I mean, yeah, they're worried about Halo. It's all worried about all hands on deck on Halo.
Yep. That could be the biggest response is Halo comes out and is good. Like that would be kind of the best thing they could do right now. All right, Jimmy DeBra. We already have one special edition next-gen console with Halo Infinite Series X, but with the shortages and everything still going strong, do you expect Sony to have special edition consoles, make special edition side plates, or just stick with selling the basic PS5 for the foreseeable future?
I think I'm gonna stick with that until maybe like Spider-Man 2. Like maybe there'll be a Spider-Man, or maybe by Wolverine there'll certainly be one. But for like the next year. Not Gran Turismo like almost could, but that's coming out too soon. They love doing like weird high-end stuff for Gran Turismo, but I don't see that happening. I don't even know why I'm saying that. I might be making that up. I don't think there's a Gran Turismo like PlayStation 2. I don't know why I'm saying things.
You just feel like you have to have answers to a certain point.
Car's expensive. Car's expensive. Console expensive. Make console like car.
Carbon Firebird console.
There you go.
All right, Epic Open World has 2 questions. What is the status of the game mess going forward? Everyone basically went back to E3 time except EA. Gamescom did its usual thing. Also, it seems like going forward, everything will be basically traditional except for we will now include a Keighley Summer Game Fest show as part of the calendar. Yeah, I think most people are going to stick to their traditional strategies. I think the big outlier here is Sony. Like Sony doing something in the fall, but that's 2 years in a row for them doing a sort of fall PlayStation 5 showcase. And so I think they might stick to that, and this just might be how it goes going forward. So I think it's still going to be a game mess, but I think it's going to be kind of solidified based on what it's been this year.
Conap says that there was a Gran Turismo PlayStation 2, so I'm okay.
There you go.
Clear.
It doesn't count as making things up if it's true. So
That's
even if you're pulling out of your
right.
ass, like, yep. All right, and the other question: if you guys were characters in a Tales game, Tales of game, what would your combat bark be that you yelled endlessly repeated? I'm sorry, I got messed up there.
I was thinking about, man, I bet he wasn't expecting this, but I was thinking about this in the shower the other day. Not specifically Tails, but just like if I was a character, just like that. And for some reason, like I was literally in the shower, like probably like washing my pits and be like, "You're weak. You're weak. You're weak." So there you go. I just remind people that they're weak a lot.
Yeah, I'm like, I'm gonna get that ass.
Wow, weird.
Get that ass. I'm gonna get that ass. Yeah.
I don't like that, Jeff.
Yep, I didn't think you
be
would.
fighting a lot of different characters in these games. Context may not be kind to that one.
Get that ass. Jedi Moss 4. What's going on with Bayonetta 3? The comments today from Platinum devs seem to imply the game is done and it's up to Nintendo to release it. Yeah, it's probably
they've
that.
done that before.
They've
right?
done that a lot. Yeah. They're probably just like waiting for the right time. Maybe they think it's not something they need this holiday, or they want to like talk about it after Metroid Dread or something like that. So yeah, maybe that's what it is. We'll see.
Don't forget that this game was announced at the Game Awards way back when. We could maybe get the big reveal of it there.
Big reveal there, and they announced it for the first quarter. Like that totally could happen. Absolutely.
In fact, you know what? Bookmark it.
Yes, that's a Minotti lock. All right.
That's a Minotti lock.
All right, we got 4 more. Let's get this one from.
Weak.
Get that ass. Louis Patelli. If I'm not mistaken, the only game in yesterday's PlayStation Showcase that was given a 2022 date was Gran Turismo. It's a weird point, but yeah, it's just weird to think Gran Turismo is going to be the one thing that's coming up the soonest. That means as of now, just Gran Turismo 7 and Horizon have confirmed release dates for next year. Should we expect those 2 games to be the only Sony first-party releases next year?
God of War is also 2022.
God of War,
God of War is set to be the holiday 2022 game now, and Forspoken's also coming out. Forspoken's next spring. So now God of War could be pushed back. It could, just like Horizon was. That wouldn't be a big shock. Right. But no, it's not just Gran Turismo. In fact, if you think of it as Gran Turismo, Horizon, Forspoken, God of War, it's pretty good. That's almost like a one a quarter thing, and there will be other things, other smaller things. So I think they're in pretty decent shape. Is
Forspoken a play or Sony Interactive Entertainment published game?
I don't think it's. I don't know. It's Square Enix. It's not like it's published.
Okay, so it's not like a first party game. I think
it's not first party.
Yeah, okay, but it's exclusive though. So yeah, it's still a big game.
It's exclusive. It's coming to PC too.
Okay, we got a big one here from Samuel Wren.
Someone just said, Ghostwire.
Ghostwire, yeah, right, exactly.
And we're all being very optimistic about Final Fantasy 16, although I'm starting to lose some of that optimism.
Yeah, same here.
Some of that old, that's coming imminently. I don't quite feel that.
I guess let's see what happens at Tokyo Game Show, but even that, I feel like that would be too big for that now, but whatever, we'll see. I see we got some super chats coming in. We'll get to everybody's super chats here after these next 3 questions. Samuel Wren, hello team. 3 questions and then 2 more after that. 3 questions this week. Sorry for the hypotheticals. Wolverine KOTOR has got me excited. So yeah, me too. Number 1, was KOTOR always a timed exclusive? If it started out life as a multi-platform game and timed exclusivity was added for a round of additional funding or marketing support, could this mean Indiana Jones could become an Xbox exclusive after the fact? We talked about this, but we think there's a chance. I think there's a chance that could happen after the fact. I think that KOTOR is a little bit different because it was started as a multi-platform game and then Aspyr was not acquired by one of these companies. It's just like, yeah, one of these things where you start working on it, you probably treat PC as the lead platform, and then Sony shows up and says, hey, we would like them to make that us, make that one of ours, please. It's a little bit different, but yeah, I think there's a chance Indiana Jones gets that sort of thing.
Slight digression here. People are mad at me in chat for not playing Parasite Eve. Is Parasite Eve really thought of that highly?
No, it's not actually. I'll take the heat there.
Yeah, you'll take it. I mean, I'll take it was popular, but
it was popular because it was a Square Enix game after Final Fantasy VII, and it got a lot of that shine. That shine was like I think the game itself in a vacuum was considered like okay, but it had a style. It was different, and so I think people remember it fondly. I've never played it though, so it's just me trying to shitting on something I never played.
There's like a tier of PlayStation 1 games that I know are like good. I just like that, like Dino Crisis, Fatal Frames, even your Siphon filters. It's just not my. I know people liked it. I don't really think it was that important that I went back and played it. People were mad.
People are mad. All right.
Maybe someday I'll get back. I'll tell you what. I don't even remember what Parasite Eve really is. I know that there's a girl on the cover. I'm not sure what kind of a game it is.
I think it's just it's an RPG, maybe a little bit more action-y. Maybe. I guess I don't know.
Let's see, what does Wikipedia? Its genre is action role-playing game. Well, look at that, Jeff. You were correct.
Yay, one for the Jeff points.
We did it. Man, we're just big Parasite Eve haters here. Now people are mad that I don't like Siphon Filter, I think, too. But that's okay. You guys
Filter is the balls. You guys
I don't know if that's good or bad.
I don't know. Is that something you want to be? All right, whatever. We'll make Mike play Parasite Eve because I'm.
Oh, there we go. It's an action horror RPG. Well, no wonder I didn't play.
yeah. Seems like it has that Eldritch sort of thing to it, where she's like going to some opera or something, and then Cthulhu comes out and like tries to make out with her or something. It's a Japanese thing.
Yeah, that's never really been my thing. The whole Lovecraftian aesthetic. I'll be honest.
Yeah, and you know what? There's almost zero chance that I got any of those details right, but I'm just glad. I just want to make chat mad.
That sounds right. I feel like there's an opera involved. Maybe thinking Final Fantasy 6.
Yeah, I feel like she's going to some fancy soiree, and opera's the only thing that can come to my mind.
We're making all of our fans mad today because Nick Turbo's mad because Candy Corn is losing 66%.
Fucking hell.
Okay, look, it's fine that you like Candy Corn. Don't be surprised that most people don't.
Yep. Yeah,
it's a joke. People make lots of jokes about how Candy Corn's bad. That tells you so. It's not the circus peanut bad, so at least it's not the worst one, Nick Turbo. You got something going up there.
Is the circus peanut? There's like the little like the foamy candy things.
Orange foam thing that I don't. It tastes like. It tastes like stale. If you had to say what is the flavor, stale. Yeah, it's the circus peanut.
It feels like a wizard was trying to transmogrify a packing peanut and failed, and then sold it as candy.
I think it's supposed to be some kind of marshmallow, but it doesn't quite do it for me.
It's a piano concert, says UD Slusher. See, they don't even remember. He says, if I remember correcely. I'm sorry, chat. We're just being shits.
Anyways, what's next?
Yeah, Sammy Red's next.
Look at this big old antagonist. Normally we're fighting each other. Now we have a united front against the people who give us money.
Yeah, it feels good, but yeah, you're right. We are making tactical errors here. Okay, let's get back to Samuel Wren's questions. Do you see Disney
possibly like circus peanuts too? Okay, all right.
He's just trolling at this point. He's lying. There's no way he likes both those things.
This is the guy who thought that Smash Brothers Brawl had a better intro than Melee, so come on.
Yeah, the circus peanuts of game openings. Yeah.
Circus peanuts of game. He's like, I agree with that. They're both great. You're like, they both make me want to throw up.
Oh, fuck this show. All right, let's see. Samuel Wren, do you see Disney possibly offering up its back catalog of IPs to developers if they are interested? For example, Gargoyles, Muppets, Captain EO, and such.
Captain EO. Oh wait, no one's touching Captain EO. That's the Michael Jackson sci-fi thing that they had in the parks for a bit, which was very cool. Okay. But I'll tell you what, in a world where Michael Jackson was completely controversy free, that would be fantastic. Not gonna happen. I mean, I was thinking about this. I don't think any of those are super bankable. Tron, maybe once the new Tron movie comes out and the Tron ride's happening in Disney World, there might be some Tron interest. There's been video game interest there. Every time there has been something Tron, even when there wasn't, there was that Tron 2.0 game. So Tron's a possibility. I mean, everything's up for sale, Disney. If people want to buy something and if they can agree to a price, Disney's going to want a high price is the thing, though. But some of these are wishful thinking, like Gargoyles. I don't know. Like there's been nothing. They haven't done a single thing with Gargoyles since that show ended.
The show rules. Mike doesn't like it because he wasn't into it.
I didn't watch
time.
it as a kid because I thought it would be scary. So I can see that it must be good. Everybody says it.
It has like the entire Star Trek: The Next Generation cast.
Right.
It's good. It's got Keith David right at the minute. Yeah, fucking.
I'm sure it's very good. I mean, I'm very optimistic. Maybe we'll get a Rocketeer something since they're doing like a new Disney Plus movie with that. So there's all sorts of possibilities there. But they're not slam dunks like Marvel, Indiana Jones, Star Wars.
Jeff says, how are you guys forgetting Monkey Island? And I don't know what he's referring to. Monkey Island.
Well, because they own Monkey Island now because that's LucasArts when they bought LucasArts.
Yeah, but I thought I thought some of those rights shifted over. I thought they sold some of those to Tim Schafer, but maybe not.
No, I don't know exactly how that works, but I'm pretty sure Disney still owns the rights to Monkey Island. But it's awkward because they already have a pretty significant pirate franchise right now. So what are they going to do with Monkey Island? I love Monkey Island. Trust me, I got my poster right over there. Monkey Island is a very big deal to me. I don't think we're going to be seeing anything new with Monkey Island for a while.
Mike, what is the best snack in a Disney park currently available or long dead? And that's another one from Samuel.
Yeah, pretty easily. The best snack is the corn dog you can get on Main Street in Disneyland at the Red Wagon. Just ridiculous. Just a different world of flavor and happiness. Just that little carts. You go over, you get your mustard on it. They're hand dipped. It is amazing. Probably second. Disneyland is where most of the best snacks are. Disneyland snacks are amazing. Second best would be the beignets. You can get the Mickey shaped beignets you can get at New Orleans Square in Disneyland, kind of by that train station there, covered in powdered sugar. They just give it to you in a bag. It's basically just donuts, but they are super fresh. At the Mint Julep Bar specifically, one time I went to Disneyland and like when you go there at opening, everybody like rushes to one of the big rides so you don't have to wait in a line. Like I went over to the Mint Julep Bar to get my beignets and it was like me and 3 other of like the real big Disneyland fans, right? Like people are already used to this bullshit and they just want some beignets because that's the real good stuff.
All right, Benji Bob's in here with a clarification about how Aspyr ended up remaking KOTOR. According to Mr. Matty Plays, probably the biggest KOTOR fan in games media, so I trust him, and that's like one of his main beats that he covers.
Okay.
He said that BioWare Austin was rumored to be working on a KOTOR remake in 2016/2017, which then got shelved and eventually shut down. Then Aspyr, who has a lot of old BioWare people on its team, picked it up like they picked up a lot of older Star Wars games they have been remaking. And those rumors were swirling late 2019 and early 2020, so it's safe to say that's when it was acquired by them. So yeah, and that sounds like they've been working on it for a long time. They've probably been working on it since then, so that makes sense. Okay.
I didn't realize there was that many ex-BioWare people at Aspyr. So.
I didn't know that either, so that's good to know. All right, we have 2 more, and these have come in since the show started. Nick Turbo says, again, wrestling is just for straight people to watch men on top of each other without shame. Change my mind. I don't think anyone disagrees with you. I think that's all fair. And then
no comment.
Yeah. And then Benji Bop says, not gonna lie, Circus Peanuts give me big Mega Man X vibes. All right.
Wow.
Listen, we were antagonizing them. They're coming back for us.
I guess that's fair, but geez, I mean, you don't have to get personal.
All right, let's get to some of these super chats. I know a bunch have been coming in.
Yes, we have a bunch more here from the Tahama 1979. Did the PlayStation Showcase live up to the hype? I think mostly so. They had some big reveals there. There was a reason why they were happy to let the hype go. There was even ads for this when I was watching AEW this week. I don't know if it was just like on if they were actual TV ads, if they were YouTube TV ads, but I was pretty surprised about that. Mm-hmm. I think most people were pretty happy. I mean, look, there's always going to be people who will, find a way to complain about something, or look, if they wanted to not like it, they can not like it. And there'll be people who genuinely were disappointed because their thing didn't show up. Like if you really cared about Infamous and you were buying into those rumors, you'll be disappointed. But I think generally this did the job.
I agree.
Victor Marinez says, forget Superman, I want Static Shock from DC. Wasn't that like a thing with Infamous that this like Cole basically just had Static Shock powers, right? I don't know very much.
If that was a controversy, I don't remember it, but it sounds right.
Like maybe it was even a little whitewashy. I don't know. Maybe I'm imagining all that happened.
That all sounds right.
Iron Mike says Black Dynamite is the only superhero left for Xbox. There we go.
All right, fair enough.
Paul Heyman says, Mike, Tales of Arise is awesome. Go play it. I'm a little about this because I did get a code. And when they gave me the code and they gave me the embargo, I was like, there's no way I'm going to be able to finish this game in time for that. So I'll get to it later. And I've been busy with like this side project, so I haven't been playing like a ton of games after work hours. So it's been hard for me to review some stuff. So like the game's just out now, and I've had it installed, and I haven't started it yet. But the reviews seems like they are very positive.
Yeah.
So maybe tonight I think I'll finally start Tales of Arise. I'm pretty excited. Daniel Briley says Parasite Eve is a top tier PlayStation 1 game. It's an action JRPG Resident Evil game, and it's better than either of you deserve. Well, fair enough.
Yeah. I mean, we never said we deserved good things, so that's
fair,
fine.
Yeah, that's good. I like Kingdom Hearts, so I don't deserve much.
No,
Thoughts and Theory says Candy Corn is personification of Apple in its totalitarian policies. It must be defeated. All right.
Yeah. Just melt it all down. Build homes out of it. Yeah.
Melt it down. Jeff, it's been a long show. Let's talk a little bit about what you've been playing, and then maybe we can start getting out of here.
Yeah, I played the Forgotten City and I beat it. It was about 10 hours for me. I think I could have like finished it on loop 8. So it's a time looping game. Another one of those. I think people are pretty dismissive of that concept right now because we've had so many of them. And I would say don't be this sort of genre can lead to some of the best games because of the things the developer has to nail to do it right, which is you have to create a world worth exploring over and over with a lot of cool, interesting secrets. And for me, that's what this game really did right. It's there are cool secrets to find, and sometimes you get cool new abilities to add to your your thing, and you keep them on each loop. And it also does a really smart thing of when you discover the answer to one of the key mysteries in the world, you can tell Galerius, who is the guy that greets you on each one of these runs through the world. You could just say, hey, so this is going to happen over here. Can you go deal with that for me? And he'll just run and go take care of it. And it's silly, but it totally makes it like, okay, so I know that's good. So he can trigger some other thing that's going to do, and then I could do the next thing. I don't have to worry about any of this stuff. It's I don't know. It's just because the world is so interesting to explore, it really, really worked for me. It's one of my favorite things to do in a game is to explore the world, explore worlds. And this one just has so many cool secrets hidden around. And when you do go behind something and there's something back there, it feels like, man, I am finding stuff in this world that people completely forgot about. The people that live here had no idea it's here, and it's like leading to all these other questions and all these other answers. And it's really satisfying. I think some of the writing can be a little bit cheesy, but it's cheesy in a really positive way. I think in the way where it's like, some of these characters are two-dimensional, but they are delivering what they need to for the story or to get you to where you need to be going. And I have like almost zero animosity towards any of that stuff. And for the most part, when I got to the end, I was just like, man, I love these characters. A lot of these characters are really good, and I am glad I got to hang out with them for a little bit and to see their stories through to the end. And none of it's super surprising. You might guess the answers to some of the things by the end, but it really is not like, I don't think that's a negative. I feel like it's just it is payoff to what you expect, because it's like, okay, things are headed in this direction. I think this is probably the answer. And when you get there and that is the answer, it's not like you shouldn't feel cheated. You should feel like this was a rewarding story because it went where it should have gone, because this is how it all makes sense. It's one of my favorite games of the year so far. Absolutely.
I have some questions for you.
Yeah, let's do it.
How long is it about?
So I did all 4 endings, and my timer on Steam says 10 hours.
Okay, that sounds nice.
Yes.
That's so yeah, you said on GamesBeat that you think it's your game of the year. Jeff, I thought we were finally going to be able to give Hitman some love this year. Well, now you're already faltering.
I'm going back and forth on it. I was on board
with you and everything. Look, Jason won't even be able to deliberate because he'll be gone by then. We have the power to do this.
We'll definitely use our power to make sure that Call of Duty isn't anywhere near the top when Dean comes with that. So this is definitely some recency bias. I just finished it. It's definitely like, sure, I'm buzzing from it. But I think when I go back and look at it, the things, because Hitman 3 and this game are very similar in that Hitman 3 is not explicitly a time loop game, but the way I play it, it is a time loop game. I go through and I like find out the way all these things work, and then I use that knowledge on the next run to do things either more efficient or to mess things up even worse. And Hitman 3's intricacies, and it's so well done, and they have refined it to such a fine point that I by the end of the year, we'll see where I land. But The Forgotten City is definitely appealing to me in that same exact way, and it's much more on the storytelling side of things. And so, like, that's some stuff that Hitman 3 doesn't really do in its levels. It has, like, you know, the stories that are happening with each character doing something, and you can interfere with that stuff. But this is telling a much more meta story overall, and that stuff, it's actually pretty well done. And then it has, like, a little bit of Skyrim's combat here or there or whatever, or Skyrim's puzzle solving. And I found that very refreshing, actually, to go back to some of that stuff. But it's definitely worth playing. You can get through it in probably like 5 to 8 loops. So, you know, and you'll spend a lot of time on the first couple of loops just like really finding everything. But, or you'll do what I did, and I'll spoil this because, like, you know, it's my specific experience. It's like, hey, the concept of this world is there's the golden rule, and if one person breaks sins, everyone dies, and these statues come to life and they shoot you and turn you to a golden statue or whatever. And I'm like, well, what are the rules? And no one knows exactly what they are. So I got to a chest, and this is like right after I talked to the main guy who sets me on my investigation. And I go downstairs inside his house, and I'm looking at stuff, and the lady whose room I'm in yells at me, says, "Get out of my room." I'm like, okay, and I go in the next room. So trespassing is not a sin so far. I was in there for a little bit, and it didn't do anything. So I go in the next room, and there's a chest with gold in there, and it's red, and it says steal. I'm like, well, let's just see. And I steal it, and then the world starts coming apart, and the statues start attacking me, and I have to, like, start the loop over. So it's like my first run was, you know, 5 minutes at most. So it's cool to just see the way the world works and to explore that stuff, and I really like it. So yeah, definitely going to be my top 3 at the end of the year for sure.
Cool.
Mike, anything from you?
Just, you know, gosh, some of that Nintendo stuff I already talked about. There's stuff I really need to get to. Some of these codes we have. I played a little bit of Sonic Colors on PlayStation 4, which, you know, it seems fine. I am reminded why I am not baffled, but even like when one of these 3D Sonic games from that era is a good one, I'm not like super into it still. There's like a slidiness, like a slipperiness to these kind of dash mechanic games like this and Sonic Generations and Unleashed that is sometimes a little unappealing to me, but it looks pretty nice. And then just my new goal in Final Fantasy 14 right now is to become a Jillionaire. I'm just working the market board and trying to make as much gil as I possibly can for some reason. I don't know. I've become addicted to seeing my wealth increase. So I'm just hoarding gil right now. Eventually, I'll be able to buy a house in the game and I'll decorate it and it'll be great. But
oh yeah, and some of that money will trickle down to some of the workers and stuff. Yeah, I could see. Yeah, that's fair.
No, I think it just goes into the ether of the game and disappears. Actually. Like, the one thing I want to do is like there is like amounts you can get for 50 million gil, which is a lot. That's just like an absurd amount where like these little fish people are carrying you on a golden chariot and gil literally shoots out of it. And like once you spend the 50 million, it's like they're literally called gil sinks. Like it's good for the in-game economy to have a way for gil to disappear forever, right? And that's why these things exist. So, and I'm like, I want to get one of those just so I can show off.
Yeah, that's what, like, it's got to be like half of an MMO is showing off your wealth, of course.
Absolutely.
All right, Mike, let's wrap this up. Should we have people find us on the internet somewhere?
Yeah, find me on Twitter at Tolkoto, TOLKOTO. Check out my 90s Disney podcast, 90s Disney, at 90sdisney.com. We have something pretty exciting coming up for our next main episode on October 1st there. It's going to be Beauty and the Beast, and we have a pretty exciting interview that's going to be part of that. And then the Last of the Nintendogs, Wednesdays, early on Wednesdays, 10:30 Eastern is when we start that one. So check us out on Last of the Nintendogs.
Yeah, you guys are getting into like the real deal, big 90s like key points of Disney fandom there with Beauty and the Beast.
Yes. I think I could just say we interviewed the two directors of that movie.
Oh, so that's awesome.
I forget if it's a surprise or not, but I guess I should start promoting that. But yes, very big interview.
Yeah,
Academy Award winners.
It's a good podcast. Everybody, check it out. Yeah, Nintendogs on Wednesday. Again, we've moved that. We're doing it live early in the morning, but people are still showing up for it. That's really nice. I think some people are like, hey, we can actually watch this live now, and that's nice to have. We're going to keep doing GamesBeat Decides at the same time, though, 11:30 a.m. Mountain Time on Friday. So thank you, everybody who did show up. If you're listening to the podcast version, feel free to join us. And if you can't do that, then join the Discord, discord.gg/GameMess. How Games Make Money did have a new episode up earlier this week. It was a good interview, or was that last week? It was last week, and I have another one coming up next week, I think, and that'll be with I think they're called SourceForge, I think is the name of the studio or whatever. But yeah, and then what else? Twitch.tv/Jeff Grubb, and then if you're listening to the podcast, it's youtube.com/Jeffrey Grubb to come watch these videos live if you want, and I'll be posting up some other videos here pretty soon. I don't know, you got any plans, Mike, for the weekend?
I think, thankfully, not. I mean, Sunday, first Browns game. I'll be watching that. That'll be fun.
Yeah. I think I'm committed to drive out to Boulder for hanging out with some friends. I'm like, I don't know, because I know Steph's not going to want to do that. And you know what? Honestly, I might have an excuse in that my kid just got a cold today. And it's like, okay, sick kids, I think I have to keep home, especially nowadays. So, all right, everybody. We'll be back next week.
Bye.